Miami Beach. What have you made of it? We've been in Palm Beach for some time.
Well, as always, GCT has done a fantastic job of basically transplanting a horse show venue onto the beach here, and it's been a super weekend of show jumping.
And from your point of view, Michael, the competition that you've seen so far, we're straight into the top standard of the Longines Global Champions Tour once again.
Yeah, of course. I think so far we had great sport here, and I'm really looking forward to the global tour.
And from your point of view, coming over to the United States, what have you made of the show here in Miami Beach?
Yeah, I was really looking forward to come to this global here in Miami. It has been a few years ago that I've been in America, and I think this is a beautiful.
And a new era for that as well.
Yeah, it's over the last 2 years, it's been looking for a venue, and I think this was the first try here, and I think it was a fantastic try, and it's great that such a prestigious class can have a venue like this to be in.
Well, from your point of view, I mean, you've competed at shows around the world. I mean, this is something very, very different, isn't it?
It is. I don't think we've ever been right on the beach like this before, and it was an interesting concept, and I think it's pulled it off very well here.
Well, Michael, yesterday, just the 4 faults for you in the first round of the Invitational class. We're going to have a little look at your round for you to be able to talk us through yesterday's competition, but you've certainly not had too bad a week so far. We're still with the Grand Prix to come. Of course, you were winner in Madrid last year, and no doubt looking forward to a good year on the Longines Global Champions Tour. Yeah. Well, let's have a look at the round of Michael van der Vleuten. Michael, who was Scott Brash's round before that, as we have a look. And actually, both of you to comment on this one. BC, Scott's round yesterday was something exceptional.
Yeah, as always, he delivered a spot-on jump-off round here. You can see he's hustling around the turn, fights for this fence, and then has to take a little poise here to get through the double, and then he puts on the gas again to the next fence, and made a beautiful turn here and brought it home to the last fence, and with a blistering time.
Well, in the closeness of the round, we'll have a look at the two of them up against each other, but Sheikh Ali against Scott yesterday was a very impressive head-to-head. Michael, we are going to have a look at your round in just a second from that point of view. But what did you make of the head-to-head yesterday? They were very good indeed.
Yeah, they were really. You could see they were really, really close, and yeah, okay, especially to the second last turn. Yeah, they were. This is my round. Okay.
Well, have a look at your round, Michael. There we go. And from your point of view, Michael, I mean, your horses just keep getting better and better, which is great confidence booster for you.
Yeah, okay, I think I have horses which are every time really trying for me, and they have a very good mind, and just what I say here she was a little bit annoying in the turn, and maybe lost a little bit of rhythm, and then she dipped very light on the back bar. But I think for the rest I could be very happy the way my horse jumped. So, okay, she was a bit unlucky this show, so hopefully next week better again. Yeah. And, but we have one more chance in the Longines Global.
Absolutely, you've got the Grand Prix to come, yes. And in terms of competition for you, I guess we're going to be seeing you at a large number of the Longines Global Champions Tour events.
Yeah, of course, I try to do, of course, as much as possible, but it's not, I also try to keep my horses sound and happy. And I mean, the way they fight for me now at the moment, I want to keep it as long as possible. And so just what I said, I try to do as much as possible, but I also want to keep them nice.
I mean, looking from your horse's point of view, we watch them and absolutely everything over a fence. The two of you are skewing, moving, everything's going over there, everything's being done to get over there, and both of you are trying your heart out. It's great to watch.
Yeah, no, it's okay. I mean, we try to do every time our best, and we have to do everything to clear the jump. So that's what I'm trying all the time. I mean, and no, okay.
It's really fantastic to see you. BC, we're going to have a look at your round from yesterday as well. But you've got two here this week, haven't you? In Vanilla and of course Simon.
Yeah, I do. Vanilla's been kind of the workhorse this week, and she she did a nice job yesterday. I had to go early, and maybe I left the stride out in a few places I might not have if I'd gone later, but normally she's better with that. And I was happy with the way she went. She started out well here. I think I let her shift a little too far to the right here. She got a little crooked going into that double, and then the rest of the round I thought she jumped very well.
And from your point of view, Simon, I mean, your horse that you won the World Cup Championship with, and of course we haven't even mentioned Cortez, not here this week, but your double bronze from the World Equestrian Games. What shape are they all in?
Yeah, I'm so lucky with the horses I have now, and they've had quite a good circuit in Wellington. No big wins, but they've all gone well, and we're hoping for some to pull off something big soon here.
That could even be this afternoon. We wait and see. And just a little roundup of how this finished up yesterday.
I think she jumped this double very well, and then came home, jumped the rest of the course clear. Here we are again. Good effort there. Left the stride out again to the last. Sailed that.
And from the point of view of the competition you've seen here, I mean, there have been a number of American riders here competing against some of the Europeans here for the very first time. Has it been an eye-opener on all sides for the riders competing against each other?
Yeah, I think some of them have already done so, but yeah, for the ones that are here for the first time, what a fantastic opportunity to have it here in the United States for us, and it's a big step that we've got this here, and thank you for GCT and Longines for having it come to Miami.
And from your point of view, I know you've got pupils competing here as well in 2-star classes. How important is it for them as young riders, juniors and riders coming through to see the whole group of the top 30 European riders and American riders in the world?
I think very important, just to be able to watch the competition going on and be a part of just mingling with them. I think the level that they jumped here was well within their capability, but they were very nervous going in the first day because it's quite an important venue, and again, just mingling with all the big important riders and important people around here creates quite an atmosphere for them, and a great experience.
And in terms of US show jumping, I mean, you've been involved at the sharp end for a while. I mean, how much of a step forward is this for US show jumping as a whole?
I think it's huge. Like I said, anytime you have a major tour like this come to the United States, I think it really helps promote. I mean, you have people here just on the beach seeing something probably for the first time that they've never seen before. Hopefully they like it and catches on. If it gets a few people here and there that to grow the sport here in the United States, that's a plus for us.
Absolutely. And Michael, yesterday we watched during those jump-offs, I mean, people on the beach all shouting, cheering. It really added to the atmosphere.
Okay, but I think it's we have to look from the point from them, just what BC said. Maybe it's the first time they ever see something like this, which I think it's good. I mean, yeah, also for those people it can be very interesting and be nice to show it once to them.
Well, we've also got a little split screen of yesterday's competition for the American Invitational between our top 2 riders of Scott Brash and Sheikh Ali bin Khalid Al Thani. We'll have a look at that in just a second, but we can see the shots here of everybody in the stands watching alongside. There is no horse show like this in the world, is there, Michael? There's the split screen. Let's have a look of the two of them. I mean, Beezy, your first thought on this? I mean, they were very, very close.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite shots of video, is these side by side. You can really see where they make up time here. Here Scott's a little ahead going into this turn, and I think you'll see Sheikh catch up. Here's where he'll make up the time, and you'll see they'll go into this last line pretty much together. You can see just the split second that they're separated. It's hard to tell even which one was ahead of the other by the end.
And Michael, I mean, Sheikh Ali's turn up to the last, that was out of the Michael van der Vleuten book, wasn't it?
Okay, yesterday I was not in jump off, but no, but it's just what BC said. It's very nice and interesting to see those, the first and the second rider together. Then you really can see and learn where you can pick up some time. You really see like the second last turn that Scott was a bit behind, and then actually the last line we were really together, and it was really hard to see which one was the fastest.
Well, quick one to the two of you. I mean, Michael, first of all, aside from the two of you here, who are the big contenders we're going to be looking for in the Grand Prix today, do you think? You can go the European side and you can go the American side. Michael, from the European side.
Yeah, that's always a big difficult question. If you see how many good riders there are and how many good horses, there's every week a different winner, so it's very hard to say.
So you sit on the fence then. There we go. Well, we're going to go for you for that one, for the European side.
I hope so.
And BC,
right.
Quickly a name from you from the US, aside from yourself?
I think, I mean, you have to go with McLean Ward, Kent Farrington. They're both on their top horses here. And but like I said, and like Michael said, there's so many others too that could win here.
Well, we're looking forward to it. We'll see how the US-European battle goes on. We're running our own little Ryder Cup in the back there as well. The US are up at the moment. So join us for all of that action to come. As you can see, the wonderful sight of the beach down there. Everybody's building up, ready for the big one to come. The Longines Global Champions Tour Grand Prix here of Miami Beach. The sun is shining. The heat is building up. It's going to build up a lot more as we get into the competition, as we get ready for the first round. In a few minutes as well, we'll take you around the course. Well, welcome back to the studio. We're building up all towards the first leg of the Longines Global Champions Tour this year, starting out in the brand new venue here in Miami Beach. And what a venue it is. It has been a scene of sensational competition already, and we've still got the big one to come, the Grand Prix, the first leg of 15 this year through 2015, as we celebrate 10 years of the Longines Global Champions Tour. 10 years since we started, in fact, in 2006 in Palm Beach. Back there in the very first running. It's grown enormously since then and continues to every year. Some wonderful venues this year, the addition of Rome, but it'll take us all the way through the season, right the way through to Doha in Qatar in November. But the first of the Grand Prix of the season is being set down there. Our course designer is Juliana Vitsani, and down having a look at the course and having a chat to a few of the riders are Brian Lookabill and Melanie Smith-Taylor.
Thank you, Stephen. Here we are just in front of this beautiful Longines clock that shows the official time just slightly after 3 o'clock here. Of course, Longines is the official timepiece of the Global Champions Tour, which, as Stephen said, is now in its 10th year of running. It started, of course, as part of the Winter Equestrian Festival back in 2006. Grew from 5 events then to now 15 events in the 2015 series. The first time ever, obviously, that we're holding the event here in Miami Beach. And what a beautiful backdrop, as we've said several times throughout the course of the week here. Now, I'm fortunate enough to have some insight from a Olympic gold medalist for the United States, a rider who also has been a World Cup champion, also a runner-up just prior to that, I believe, and of course, she steered Calypso to quite a few victories over the course of her career. Melanie Smith-Taylor is with us, and fortunately, because she's been through this before on all levels, not just here in the U.S., but all around the world, she can kind of give us an idea of what it takes to ride a course of this caliber when we're talking about 15 of the top 25 riders in the world going for the big prize money here today. So without further ado, here's Melanie Smith-Taylor, and we're just going to, in segments, while the riders are walking the course, do the same for all of you in the stands and those of you who are viewing live right now. So Melanie, if you want to start us off here at fence number 1.
Okay, well, we have 13 jumping numbered jumps with 15 efforts, counting the combinations. There's one double, one triple combination. And these jumps are really big. They're maximum height. They can go up to 1.60 meters, which is 5'3". And we'll point out fence number 4 and fence number 13, or number 12, are at the maximum height, also some of the maximum spreads. So the course starts right here at fence number 1, the lime green fence. So they get a nice start off. They're jumping right into the ocean, so that's a nice view for everybody. And the horses don't seem distracted by that, oddly enough. Then they come around the end of the ring. You'll see the riders up at the Longines vertical. And they do like a little loop across the diagonal. The riders will walk that walk for me like 7 strides to, and then 8 strides to number 4. And then they come around to the triple combination. And that combination being early on in the course, it's a big one. It's a huge square oxer coming in, the A part. And what Uliano has done with his courses, he really believes that the distances in the combination should be honest. He doesn't want to trap horses where they only have 1 or 2 strides to recover. He likes to make the difficulty in the course either after the combinations to the next fence or coming to on the approach to the combinations. So this triple combination walks very normal, 25.5 for 1 stride from A to B, 36.5 feet for 2 strides to C. And then you'll see the riders are walking up to number 6. It's a very narrow and airy vertical. And the plan is for the riders to do just a continue, and it's a little bit of a long 5 strides to that. And I think that's what most riders will do. But because it's about 74 feet, which is a couple feet longer than a normal 5 strides. But if they have trouble in the combination, they have the option of bending out towards the ocean and adding a stride.
And so at that point, we'd be about halfway through the course. Fence number 6 over there, which you mentioned, is the solid black vertical. It's kind of airy, actually. Do you see any particular jumps to this point that might be a distraction or be a particular test?
Well, I think the way the courses have gone so far this week, our course designer is he's very cleverly made the fences so that there's faults everywhere. I think in the class last night there were faults at every jump. So, and that's the sign of a good course designer. He doesn't build traps anywhere. This line right here in front of the stand, this walks it's 84 feet, which is just a normal 6 strides, and sometimes that can be more difficult than if it's steady or forward, because you have to sort of balance up and you're not able to make a lot of changes. And then again, the 1 stride vertical to oxer is quite big.
Okay, and then after that combination, let's go ahead and do something here. Let's walk down after the combination, which is 8AB. I'm going to let the riders sort of walk those distances off without any sort of disruption from us. But then we were talking before we came into the ring for this course walk and discussed the fact that after 8B, 9 comes up a little quick. Is that correct? It's a bit of a sharp left-hand turn and going back toward the gate, toward the ocean, toward an audience that's standing outside the ring there. So maybe all 3 of those things could combine for a distraction. But it's also a bit of an airy Liverpool vertical. So does that all come together for a particular test there, Melanie?
Yes, it does, indeed. In fact, the riders may walk a number of strides here, a certain number, but the way it's set on a right angle, personally, I would just want to land, try to stay out on the rail so my horse didn't fall in, taking away distance that I need, and then just look for your distance here. It's a vertical with Liverpool behind it, which he likes to do, Uliano, the course designer, and that can cause horses oftentimes to either peek down at it and have a rail in front, or they'll sort of trail a hind end as they sort of are in the air and see it.
Okay, and then let's just, we've only got a couple minutes left here to finish up our walk. So from fence number 9, as you can see here, which is the palm tree vertical with those Liverpools, we come around the end of the ring and then away from home again, a beautiful Miami Beach vertical here, and then up to fence number 11. So any issues with the distance there? And after we talk about that, then we'll come and walk that final line.
No, 10 and 11, it's sort of a blind turn from 10 to 11. So I think the riders, again, will just land. Wait till they get around the fence on the right, and then look and set up for the fence number 11. And then the final line is very difficult. Those planks, that was a fence that came down a lot yesterday. They're on flat cups. Horses tend to know they can kind of touch those, and they won't even take a touch. They'll fall. So you've got to jump that pretty careful, and then this last line, it'll ride, and if they jump that careful, just land and sort of build for the 4 strides. It's 62 feet, so it's a normal 4 strides, but you'll need a lot of impulsion to jump the last fence because it's big and square. So the last 2 fences, the last line's quite difficult.
So as you said here, our course designer trying to put the tests leading into the combinations, though as always the combinations being so close together are a test in and of themselves. You mentioned the tallest fence on the course here today is 1.60 meters or 5 feet 3 inches tall. Some of our riders that are showing today might not even be 5 feet 3 inches tall, so you definitely better believe that it's looking kind of challenging to them. We also talked about the approach to 9, that Liverpool vertical on the far end there being a test, and then this final line being a bit of a test. Of course, coming in with the planks here, which is very substantial at the Longines Global Champion Tour 10-year vertical. But all in all, we don't necessarily know about the time allowed yet here. Have you seen the time allowed yet, Melanie?
I don't know. No, it hasn't been determined yet. And then remember, the second round will be a totally different course. The riders will walk again, and we'll come in again and explain that.
And with just a couple seconds left, let's just quickly talk about that format. Melanie, have you shown in a competition like this, 2 rounds mandatory, right? And then after those 2 rounds are complete, the cumulative faults determine if anybody comes into a jump-off round. We're not necessarily guaranteed a jump-off. Is that correct?
That's exactly right. They take the top 18. So if they're not 18 clean, then they take all the clears and they take the 4 falters with the fastest time. So that's another thing the riders are thinking about. First, they want to jump clean, but they also want to keep a good pace so that their time is quick enough, if they have a rail, to get into that top 18. And then the 2 rounds are averaged, and lots can change after the second round.
Okay, well, Melanie Smith-Taylor with us, ladies and gentlemen, and we're wrapping things up in the course walk. We'll be underway with some more of our pre-ring activities coming up here in just a few.
There is a place that evokes peace and tranquility, a haven from life's daily grind. That place is called home. But for the world's best horses and riders, home is not a straw-filled box or a field, nor a cozy kitchen or comfortable couch. For them, home is on show in the arena. And just where are those arenas? In 15 prestigious, dazzling, iconic locations around the world. This year marks our 10th anniversary and opens up 2 new venues, Miami Beach and Rome, plus a special celebration at the home where it all began, under the spotlight in an electrifying atmosphere. The power and elegance combine to generate unbridled excitement.
Checky hand check, is that costing him or not? A surprise.
Releasing a full range of emotions. Time is all important. Those who take the least enjoy the limelight the longest.
Coming in very quickly. Oh, here he goes. It's close. 40 points in form. He has done it.
These horses and riders share an uncommon complicity, an innate understanding of what has to be done.
Go! Got a good shot, he has! Is he quick enough? It is!
Home is also a place where you share with family and friends, where you express dreams and passion. A place to which, succeed or fail, win or lose, you can always return.
Absolutely thrilled to see you one of the heroes of equestrian sport.
That home is where the heart is. Welcome to the 2015 Longines Global Champions Tour.
Este es caro. Y aquí en Europa.
Bueno, sí, pero no es tan caro. Venía a concursar acá, pero
Acá. No, boludo, tenés que comprar una mesa. Si no, no entras. Si no estás en los 30 mejores, o no tenés la wildcard de la
en
fe.
5 estrellas. Pero en 2 estrellas no. Igual en 2 estrellas que era acá. No eran 2 millones. Sí, pero te hacían comprar mesa.
Claro.
Nicola no, porque hizo tío. Generalmente pagás 2.500.
Sí.
Pero acá había mucha gente. Salvo que lo hubiese reservado en bien, arrancó.
O si concursás en Europa, que haces todos, entonces estás antes de acá, agarraron todos los grupos de acá.
Sí, no. ¿Sabes cuánto estaban pidiendo para el 5 estrellas? Tenían 50 lucas. Pero para el 2, tenías que comprar mesa. Tenías que 2.500 por caballo, más comprar una mesa de 4 que serían 10.000.
No es tanto.
15 lucas, 5 lucas.
15 lucas, no es tanto.
No, para un DS estrellas, lo bueno que acá, a diferencia de la mayoría, tenías 3 clases, ranking clases con guita. Tenía un caballo competitivo y todo
It's hot, and well, the hot competition is all coming up here in Miami Beach. And as you can see, the fans are all taking their seats. The wonderful thing is it's free entry here this week as well, so the stands are all filling up beautifully. It's filling up along the beach in the hospitality where they're all sitting back with a quiet glass of something, and everyone's looking set to have an enjoyable day here for the first leg of the Longines Global Champions Tour. As you can see, right along the beach, they've been able to watch from beachside here in Miami. A new concept here. One side of the arena is quite simply open onto the beach, about 20 feet from the water. There's nothing much between the two. High tide, we start to get a little bit twitchy, but it's all been worked out. It's all absolutely fine. Alongside me today is going to be Melanie Smith-Taylor. Now, Melanie, we've never seen a venue like this before, have we?
I certainly have never seen one, exactly, never ridden in one. And it's amazing. I was walking the course, and most of the spectators along the beach are obviously beachgoers, and they're like wondering what this is. But I actually had some people wave to me that are horse people. So
yeah.
It's fun. It's just a mixture. And it's a moving spectator group.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, you can, as you say, it's a group that can come in. It's free entry, so you can watch a bit. You can leave if you want. But actually, what we've found is that the stands keep filling up. We get more and more piling in, coming to watch the very best in the world. And this is who they're going to see here this afternoon on the Longines Global Champions Tour. This is our 50 in the first round. The top 18 we then take through to round 2. And then, who knows, we may have a jump off between our top few after that if they're still clear. Jack Tal, Hardental was our big winner earlier on in the week. He features here as the 8th to go in the order. On down, Carlos Lopez was the first winner of the week as well. He'll be 11th to go. A little further down, the young talent from the USA of Lucy Davis, bronze medalist at the World Equestrian Games last year. A little further to Georgina Bloomberg, who's been having a top season so far. Laura Crouch with Nouvelle, a name we know well on the Longines Global Champions Tour, two-time winner, of course, in the series. And then down to many of the other names that will feature. The familiar name of Beezy Madden, down as Elizabeth Beezy Madden from the USA, with the wonderful ride of Simon. We heard from her a little earlier on. Edwina Tops-Alexander, two-time winner of the championship. Ben Mayer with the fantastic Diva the Second, and the two-time champion, current holder of the championship, Scott Brash, with the fabulous Hello Sanctos also in the field. McLean Ward for the USA, he's one that many are going to be watching. He was the first winner last year when we opened up in Antwerp in the 2014 season, and Daniel Deusser is very much on form as well for Germany. Can Farrington as well is going to be flying the stars and stripes throughout with Voyer. He comes a little later on in the first round. Rogerie Boss, the European champion, and our final two for Germany, Hans-Dieter Dreher, and finally for Belgium, Gregory Wapale with Zip It. All-star cast here on what is a sunny day as the sun blazes down on a fabulous day of sport and what has been groundbreaking sport here in the United States as we return for the 10th year of the Longines Global Champions Tour, heading back to the country where it all started back in 2006. That was at Palm Beach. Wasn't quite on the beach as it is there right then, but that was the very first that came up then. And the tour, well, it's grown enormously since then. And now, this year, what better than crowning the glory by starting the 10th year here on Miami Beach in the sunshine. As you can see, the dress code, well, anything goes. It's nice and relaxed, nice and easy. And Melanie, that's what we want about this sport as well here in this setting. It would be nothing else than enjoyable. And yesterday's American Invitational had the crowd on every side of the arena on their feet.
It really did, and as you can see, that's McLean Ward walking the course. That's the final line that we're looking at there, and it was fun to see the crowd so interested.
First of two phases and potentially a jump off.
Well, it is, and we're going to have catch up with our team on the ground as well, because we're going to open up in the traditional way as we do in the United States with the national.
So at this time, I'm going to ask you all to please rise and remove cover, if you would. This time it's my pleasure to introduce to you Ms. Ashley Pizzotti. She is a University of Miami student studying jazz. She's attended the highly selective Grammy Camp Jazz Sessions for the past 2 years, and she's from Plantation, Florida, but now living, of course, in Miami as a student here, 19 years of age, singing for the past 15 years. So it is a lifetime obsession in music for Ashley Pizzotti. Again, she's with us today to sing our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets regular, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Well, what a very good way to start, as we do in the traditional way in the United States. And it is a wonderful way. We should do it more in the rest of the world, but it's certainly the way you start sport here in the US, and it is a great way to get the emotions running, ready for the top-class competition to come. We can see VIP, well, they're settling down to a few drinks, and lucky old them as they get down to just having a drink or two, ready to watch the first to go in this competition. There he is. Sheikh Ali bin Khalid Al Thani and Vienna Olympic will be the first on course for this Longines Global Champions Tour. Grand Prix. Time allowed is 79 as we hear, and entering the ring our first rider to go. Had a very good run, finishing second yesterday in the American Invitational. Trainer Jan Thompson, founder of the Longines Global Champions Tour, watches on. He's got a busy old day as well. But Ali, who achieved Olympic qualification for Rio back in February in Abu Dhabi, he's a team gold medalist at the Asian Games. That was in September last year. Host of clears last year on the Longines Global Champions Tour, and recent wins as well on the Middle East tours too. Well, Melanie, you had a close look at the course. What's your overall view of it?
I think it's very big, but it seems very fair. I like the course designer. I like his idea, Liliana Pisani. I like his idea of being very fair, trying to keep the horses safe, keeping the distances and the combinations very fair.
Yeah.
And but he's got some tricky lines, not as many options, but the riders have to ride the lines well.
Well, let's have a look around the track. As I say, fantastic round yesterday from Sheikh Ali, and
he was just so close to winning. So this is 2 to 3. This is the third fence, and that first line sort of does a little serpentine, a zigzag across the middle of the arena. Now he comes to the first combination. It starts with a triple combination. It's absolutely square, 1.50 m, front and back rail. I've always found the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So he stayed out and added the 6. Course designer built that line to ride in a long 5, and we'll see the 5s, I'm sure, as well. But I was saying, I think the triple combination oxer, vertical oxer, is one of the most difficult, and I'll explain more later.
Yeah.
So now he's coming up to number 10. And then a sort of a blind turn to 11, another big oxer, and now the last line, I think, will take its toll today. These planks come down so easily and quite tall. And the distance there is just right on 4 strides, but if you're real careful at the plank, it could be a little bit forward.
Okay. Well, finishes on a total of 8:74.14 for the first away. Sheikh Ali bin Khalid Al Thani, and Vienna Olympic is the first to go. As I say, time allowed 79 seconds. I know our grand jury and our course designer will have a look at it over the first few, but you can see the horse in action.
The double there, vertical to oxer, it's about 25.5 feet, and it's just a normal distance, but he got sort of off to the corner and just got up under the B part coming out. Again, this plank, the next to last fence, number 12, will come down a lot today, I predict, because it is sitting on absolutely flat cups rather than a little bit of a grooved cup that the rails sit in.
And when I walked down there, I mean, it is right up against the crowd.
Right up against the crowd, yes. Obviously, that can be very distracting, but it's amazing in watching so far. The horses don't seem to be that bothered by the ocean and all the people. They're really staying focused. You know, I thought we'd have a lot of sort of horses being a little bit worked up over that, but it's they're really quite settled.
Well, now to El Salvador, Jose Alfredo Hernandez Ortega and Grupo Prom, Jack Ryder, who's competed in World Equestrian Games before now, recently competing in Spain. These horses ready for the Longines Global Champions Tour, and unfortunately it's early polls already for him.
You know, another factor today, it is very hot. It's quite a bit hotter than yesterday. There is a small breeze, but it's hot, and on this beach, on the sand, reflecting the heat. And this class is going to be a 3-rounder. So that's going to take a lot out of the horses. So.
And for those that have been asking the questions, although we're on the sand, we're not on the beach sand. This is built on top of the beach where it's been leveled off. There are mats and plates underneath it that they put the normal riding surface that we see at many events on top of it. It's quite a feat of structural engineering to make this thing happen. Although we can see sand and sand, don't be confused.
That's right. No, this is a raised platform, and they explained to me they put steel plates down over the sand so there would be no give. They'd have a foundation, and then they built the layers and layers of this footing, and it is beautiful footing. The horses are really springing off the ground. There's no slippage anywhere. It's amazing. They have to tear all this down in just a few days to get back to the normal beach.
5 days from now, you won't see this at all. Unfortunately, elected to retire there. The second away, Jose Alfredo Hernandez Ortega and Grupo Prom Jack. Yes, the whole thing went up in just over a week, and it comes down in less than one, which is amazing. And that's what the result is. You get the chance to watch from any angle you like, whether it's on the beach or enjoying a glass of bubbly or just fruit juice.
Yeah, so you're either on china and crystal or you're paper plates and plastic cups.
Either way it works.
And if you're on the beach, you want the paper plates and the plastic cups. So.
Egypt now, Karim El Zogby, and he's competed in the World Equestrian Games before now as well. There's a 10-year-old by Kantos of Amelia for Karim, Egyptian rider, been competing in many of the big shows in Europe as well throughout the season. Makes the trip across here, across the Atlantic, specifically for the Longines Global Champions Tour. We've got a mix of riders here, those that have been based out here, because there is a very strong winter circuit here in Florida, so there's a number of Europeans and especially American riders that have been competing on that in Palm Beach, north of here, and those that have been on the Indoor World Cup circuit over in Europe.
It is truly a global competition, and that's a good point. The ones that have been outdoors showing here in Florida, the horses are a little prepared a bit differently from horses that have been on the indoor circuit in Europe. And this ring is more similar to an indoor track than the outdoor because of the size. It's quite narrow, but long enough for a good course, but it is quite narrow. So the turns come up quickly. The horse has to be a little more adjustable, you know, ready to come back, go forward within a stride or two. You don't have the big open spaces, but these riders are all at such a top level, they adjust, you know, just easily.
And the good thing is we've been keeping up with the scores between the European riders and the American riders this week. I can say it's 2 wins apiece at the moment, so it comes down to the Grand Prix to decide it. So we've got our own little Ryder Cup going on this week as well. We're 2-2 at the moment, 2 for the US, 2 for Europe. That's an interesting turn. The way that goes, you almost don't walk it that way, do you?
No, you'd think you're going to turn the other way. He's down to the last fence. Oh, whoa. I didn't want to say anything to jinx him because he was so clear right to the last fence. Oh, what a disappointment. His horse just looked like he shifted a bit to the corner and just didn't get his legs up out of the way, basically.
Well, the thing is, 18 to go forward to the second round. We often see the 4 falters go through. Not all of them, maybe, but certainly a percentage of them. So we'll see how that score fares. Here we go.
What a great shot of the triple combination. You can see how, you know, and when you look down through there as a rider and a horse seeing it from the approach, it looks like a maze of rails. You know, it's amazing the horses can learn to figure out the individual fences and the striding. It's
you're diving on in there and looking, you can't quite see the spot you're going to land on.
No, you cannot.
Well, getting underway now is Audrey Coulter with Capital Colorado. 10-year-old by Coleman. Audrey, who's training with Harry Smolders and Axel Valois now. Had a very good run last year. Now building the string of horses once again. And Harry Smolders, who we've seen many times on the Longines Global Championship, competing a number for the Copernicus stables now as well. And one of your growing youth talent here in the US, Melanie.
She is a lovely rider and a lovely horse. And this horse, if I'm not mistaken, was what place was he? Wasn't this the horse she rode last night?
She did get placed with this one last night. I'm just whipping down 8th place. There you go.
It's unusual. I mean, a lot of these riders are riding different horses in back-to-back classes, so a horse going in 2 in a row back-to-back has got to be very fit. And that's the end fence we talked about, walking the course. Comes up so quickly, it's easy to have that down because you don't have a chance to really set your horse up.
Yeah.
But this horse is a beautiful jumper, just a lovely stylist. Audrey really is it's a nice combination, these two. That's an excellent score.
Absolutely. Another one to finish on the 4:76.24, so a little quicker than that of Karim El Zogby. So we'll move her up the order. As I say, that can be all important later on to whether you make the top 18 or not. So even if they have a rail, it makes a big difference.
And here's where she had that rail down. This fence comes up so quickly. He jumped up, looked like she met it okay, but he just didn't respect it enough and rubbed it off in front. But boy, he jumped everything else beautifully.
Well, Audrey Coulter heading on out with Capital Colorado. There's Harry Smolders alongside.
I think that's a combination we're going to see a lot more of. That's a really lovely horse, and it was a beautiful ride she gave in.
Well, rider we've seen a bit more of is Rodrigo Pessoa that we see now. 2004 Olympic gold medalist with the 11-year-old status. They were on the podium last year in Estoril for the Longines Global Champions Tour behind Scott Brash and between Nick Skelton. So it was some showdown there.
Well, Rodrigo's always a player. No
Yeah.
matter what horse he's on, he can make it work. Has an early rail, which is sort of disappointing as a rider for sure. But at least he knows that he needs to be quick. At least he knows he's not going to go clear, so he's going to try to be clever as he can, make quick turns, because you can still win this class even with 4 faults. You never know how it's going to play out, how many clears are going to be, and then if you come back in the second round and jump clear, and the clears have a rail, but once you've had 8, I'd say he's probably out of the mix.
And we saw a host of people. Pierre Schwitzer jumped straight into my mind in Paris, and several others that I can think of during the year that had 4 faults in the first round, clear in the second, and finished up 4th, 5th, something like that. I mean, they picked up some big prize money. It was $600,000 on the class here today, so there's plenty to play for.
Plenty to play for. And that last line is riding in a true 4 strides. I don't think we're going to have any option strides there, but definitely have to be very careful at the plank jump.
Well, we'll finish on the 8:76.17 for Rodrigo Pessoa and Status, and here it is.
This was the early rail that he had down, and just rubbed it off in front. Look at that, it almost bounces back in the cup. It's like he hit it in front, knocked it off, and then his hind leg sort of made it stay almost.
Love a slow motion. I'm not quite sure whether it's worse watching where it all bounced off.
I know, exactly.
Michael Whitaker now with Amai for himself, and Beatrice Mertens is a 15-year-old by non-stop, has been a winner of the Aachen Grand Prix before now. This combination, second recently in St-Augenbosch in the Grand Prix there, won the Grand Prix in Madrid a season or so ago for the Longines Global Champions Tour, and has a CV as long as your arm, I can tell you that one. Wins in London in the 5-star and Doha last season.
He has just been around. It's just amazing. Love to know the count of how many jumps Michael's jumped in his life in the ring. Not even warming up. Well, he fell victim to the triple combination. As I said earlier, I think the double, an oxer, vertical oxer is the most difficult triple. Because you make the big effort over the oxer, and then sometimes people take for granted the vertical because they're thinking about powering out over the second oxer. And the horses, just get a little careless at an easier fence and sort of rub it off. And that's what happened, it looked like, with him.
He's going to
save him for another day. 12 faults, he's out of the money, and why jump a bunch of more fences on a hot day with a horse that knows his job? So
absolutely. Electing to retire there, Michael Whitaker, and the 15-year-old my big winning combinations. As I say, second in a Grand Prix a couple of weeks ago in St-Augenbosch, and unfortunately not today for Michael. So a shake of the head said something's not quite right, I think. As you say, save the horse for another day, put it away, reevaluate. More than capable combination. One out to Ireland, Shane Sweetnam and the Spy Coast Farms at Chucky Z, 9-year-old by Chaco Blue. Shane, our next forward, who, as I say, rides for the Spy Coast Farm. Moved to the USA back in 2004, has competed in 2 European Championships in recent times, Madrid in 2011 and in 2013 as well. Competed previously on the Longines Global Champions Tour in Monaco back in 2010. We haven't seen too much of him since then, but say based here in the US. Familiar face to those that are regular on the US circuit.
Yeah, the US has a host of Irish riders that are now riding in this country and spending a lot of time here. I think we mentioned that Robert Splain, the chef to keep for the Irish team, can just pick and choose who he wants now. He's got several that can, depending on where they live or where their horses are.
And several that have come out for the winter season as well. Keane O'Connor, the Olympic bronze medalist, has been out in Florida for the season too. He's now headed back, but all preparing, ready for this year. And with views also, of course, to 2016. Sort starting to turn towards the next Olympics in Rio next year. Slow, steady preparation underway.
So far, the horses are jumping the narrow, that skinny fence quite well. That usually comes down a lot just because horses it's so airy, and horses get a little careless, more careless on a fence that has a lot of bulk to it, that gives them a little more something to jump.
Brash looking to stay at the 4.
And he cut
Again.
the corner right
Yeah,
there.
I was about to say, you'll see 1 or 2 try and sort of speed up in the second part of the track then if they do have a rail, just to try and still make that top 18. But no, the last fence puts pay to it and was going to have a time fault as well. So we'll finish on the 9 for Shane Sweetnam there with Shaki Z. As I say, competing in the Longines Global Champions Tour, first time for a while. Good to see him.
You know, the horses just don't, in general, look as fresh today. But, you know, nowadays, horses have to be fit. The riders are always thinking about working towards the championships, where there's 3 and 4 and 5 days of competition. So that's not an excuse, but it is early in the year.
There's the supporting cast. Jack Towell, the elder of that group, watching his son Harden Towell. This is a ride for Jennifer Gates, and it is the 9-year-old Lucifer the 5th. Harden, who was the winner on the first day in the Artisan Farms Trophy, and was delighted with that. Gave him a good boost. And
absolutely, it's been really fun to see Harden do so well. He comes really from a hunter background. His family were, his sister Liza is a top U.S. hunter rider, and you know, they grew up in the hunter and equitation and all that, but also now doing the jumpers. And he's really doing a wonderful job. He's based on the West Coast, as you said, working with the Gates family, and has just right in there. He's qualified for the World Cup in Las Vegas in a couple weeks, so he's really moved up to the upper echelon of riders quite quickly.
And he said coming in here and after his win earlier in the week, I mean, he's got, it's a shame, he'd really got nothing to lose coming into competitions. Day 1 he won a competition as well. You know, even if I am up against the best in the world,
he's not expected to win, right?
He's enjoying being here. I think he's going to pull that one up.
Yes, he fell victim to what course designer had said. The line against the stands there, against the VIP tent, it's just a normal 6 strides.
Yeah.
You know, and he had to kind of keep going a little bit there. Wasn't able to really balance his horse up, and then rolled the rail coming into the double. And that's exactly what the course designer was thinking. It wasn't a trappy line, but it was a tricky line.
Yeah.
And that's what Julian is known for. He's very clever.
He is.
He causes riders to make mistakes, which then causes the horses to make mistakes.
Well, you can see the searing heat here, and there's Rodrigo Pessoa watching, because this is one of his pupils, Emmanuel Andrade, with Hard Rocks, a 12-year-old by Heartbreaker. Gold medalist at the Central American Games last season. Finished well this week as well, too. He's had several placings and has recently come off a number of wins in the Winter Equestrian Festival. Finished 4th in the Artisan Farms Trophy earlier on this week. Just 18 years of age.
He's one of the youngest riders for sure.
Yeah, we don't like to point out there's a 50-year gap between the youngest and the oldest rider in the field.
Isn't that amazing, though? That is an amazing thing about this sport, is that Ian Miller, I would imagine, is our oldest rider.
Yes.
And he's in his 60s, so I just think that's wonderful. There's tremendous longevity. And also for the horses. A top Grand Prix horse, the average age is probably 12, 13 when they really reach their peak. 9 is considered young, and some of them go to 18 and 19 as long as they stay sound.
Absolutely.
So, unlike the thoroughbred racing horses, where after 2 or 3-year-old year they're finished. But this is a long course, you know, 13 number jumps, 16 jumping efforts. That's a lot of jumps to jump at, you know, maximum height basically. Verticals, most of them are 5'3", 1.60 m. Boxers are 1.50 m or 1.60 m in the back rail. Maximum spread, so it's a lot of effort. Hot day.
Finishes on the 4:78.73. We'll have to sit and wait now to see whether he makes the top 18. He is the slowest of the 3-4s so far. Audrey Coulter, the quickest of them, on 76.24. Still haven't got our first clear yet. But
no, and he had he had just this vertical down, just a simple, you know, nothing simple, but it is just a single vertical sort of sitting out there by itself, sort of on stride, and the horse just rolled it off. So All the rider can do is get the horse there in the best balance possible. The horse has to jump the fence. It's really nothing more you can do at that point.
Andreas Rodriguez now of Venezuela. This is the 30-year-old Verdi by Andiamo. Rider won a Grand Prix a few weeks ago. 3-star Grand Prix again up at Wellington in Florida. Has been having a very good run with a horse called Caballito too, and training with Eddie Macken, the great Eddie Macken, of course, many will know, attached the name Boomerang and many other top horses too. It's great to see Eddie here. We see him a lot in the winter, those of us that are lucky enough to be out here for the winter.
I haven't seen him in a long time. It was great to see him last night. We were talking about old times, and I was telling him I remember being behind him a lot. In the, he was tough to beat in the jump-offs with Boomerang. That was one fast riding combination.
Yeah, I mean, there weren't many Grand Prix that had less Grand Prix there are now, but I mean, the major championship Grand Prix, he's put his name on all those trips. And this rider has been doing a great job in recent weeks.
Thought he was okay, but he came in a little strong and just got too deep to the B part of the double there. Yeah, we're almost up to 10, and we haven't had a clear go yet, but we do have close to 50. So.
Absolutely, and the draw runs in two separate sections. Those higher up the Longines World Rankings will come in the second part as well. So
they're seated a good bit.
Yeah, it comes. We'll see it chopping and changing around. But that's a good 4:77.06. It'll put him a little further up the order. Third quickest of the 4 falters so far, and well, he'll have to sit by and wait as well. As I say, on regular occasions we see the 4s going through, often based on the average, seeing all sorts of stars here. Michael Bloomberg, I think they're watching his daughter coming up here a little bit later on. They've been down on the yacht here in Miami as well, enjoying the sunshine.
Oh, is that right? He was three terms mayor of New York City. So he definitely supports his daughter, Georgina, who's just having a banner year. So hope she can do well in front of her dad. Keep him interested.
Absolutely. Colombia's Carlos Lopez now, and this is Prince de la Mar. He's winning ride from Madrid, from the Madrid World Cup back in December. And also he started off as the first winner of the season, winning here on day 1 here in Miami Beach. And, well, a good start for him as he got us underway. 3-time competitor in the World Equestrian Games.
This horse also competed last night.
Yeah.
So some of these horses had a day off in between, and some jumped last night. Or yesterday afternoon.
Yes. It was into the evening by the time we finished.
Yes. This horse is he always just catches my eye because he's very long. He has an interesting conformation, but he's equally long everywhere, in the neck and back, and it's just a little different looking, but he's a good guy. That link gives him a lot of scope and a big stride. Sometimes he jumps a little over his front end. He got a little lost at the rail he had down prior, and there he just jumps a little over his front end and kind of loses his form a bit. There he got his shoulders up much better. But he tries to miss the jumps as long as he's within range. He tries to miss them if he gets a little deep and has a little out of balance, and he sort of leaves his shoulders down.
Finishes on the 12:75.06.12 there for Carlos Lopez of Colombia and Prince de la Mar. Here we go.
The narrow fence there. The rails are lighter, so they roll off a lot easier, and also the airiness there, horse sort of looks through it, not able to judge quite as well as if the jump had a lot of filler and bulk. But I still just can't believe we're here on the beach.
And the great thing is, I mean, you've got a lot of audience, as you say. A number have come down. I mean, it's a huge horse area, Florida, come down to watch. There are people just coming off the beach, and they know it's a big class. We don't have to tell them it's a big class. They know it's a big class. They can see it's big fences, and they're coming in, watching, still getting a tan while they're doing it.
So, we may get some new fans to the sport of show
Absolutely.
jumping.
That's what it's about. Ian Miller, Susan and Ariel Grange's Dixon, Captain Canada. big winner in Spruce Meadows last year, has previously competed on the Longines Global Champions Tour, and this was the rider we mentioned was the oldest in the field, but I think he's one of the fittest as well.
One of the fittest and so experienced. He's such a student of the sport.
Yeah.
He's always working on his position, always working on his horse's shape and his horse's rideability. Ian never takes anything for granted. He studies every course, thinks it through. He's always been such a student of the sport, and therefore his longevity. I mean, 10 Olympic Games, he holds the record in all sports.
Yeah, absolutely.
Incredible.
And could well be in Rio. I think actually competed in 1980 at Rotterdam, so otherwise would have racked up even more. So
that's right. That's exactly right. The year of the boycott.
Yeah. So even more to his tally. But
now that I have to say, it looked like he may have just sort of rushed that turn a little bit, and he didn't have time to really set up. The horse just kind of rolled over his front end there, which was too bad. Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah.
That turn to that Liverpool, it just comes up very quick.
But actually, that is the quickest of the fours so far, 75.55. So puts him at the top of the list at the moment.
So that's a good thing.
Yeah. He could still be in there, yes.
And remember, he knows how to do these 2-round classes. He won that big one in Spruce Meadows.
Yeah.
He knows that he has a chance to still be in there if he goes clear in the next round. So that, and then that he's he's still in pretty good shape.
And he either way goes home with a big paycheck.
I would think if he can
if
he can have a good second round. If there's a lot of ifs, aren't there? A lot of ifs.
There we can see packed house in the VIP as well, watching on some of those that have been competing in the 2-star competitions earlier today. And I mean, you literally couldn't buy a table here. It was sold out.
And there's probably some very famous people there that we just don't recognize. There's a lot of them in that.
I've heard various names mentioned. Well, we had El McPherson earlier on in the week. I've heard mention of Enrique Iglesias in this afternoon, as we've already seen Michael Bloomberg, many others. Bruce Springsteen's been hanging around for much of the week watching as well, which has been great. Jan Candele now. And this is first choice, staying with the Canadians for Janice Aaron, 12-year-old by for keeps, also been a regular part of the Canadian team, including at the Nations Cup final last season.
And he's been mentored, always has ridden with, and really been helped by Eric Lamaze, which I think really does guide his career and helps him find horses. Oh boy, he jumped beautifully through that triple combination. And then just let down over. You always think it's just such a simple fence, but it's a hard one. It's a difficult one to jump clean. Those little airy verticals, narrow verticals. Yep, so he ran into the same trouble as Ian there, but he had a little bit different. His horse sort of hung up in the turn. You know, horses don't think there's going to be a jump across the short side because most of the jumps are on the long side. And I think they make that turn, and then the riders just have to go with what distance they see, and that one just was a little too long. It didn't work out for Ian.
On the 8 then, and it is 75.51 for Jan. And his rider, first choice, takes him into the 7th best score so far. We've got 5 combinations on the 4 at the moment. Quickest of them, Ian Miller, though, compatriot of Jan. And as you see, prime example of that exactly there.
Yeah, he jumped that combination beautifully, way up in the air, and then here he jumped it in front, and then he just dragged his hind end through, unfortunately. And then he caught the fence on the end of the ring, the Liverpool.
Well, there we go. There's the shot. We are very close to the sea. We're very close to everybody out on the beach. The awful thing for us is the temptation not to just go out there and relax. But we'll do that after this Grand Prix, maybe. You never know, or even tomorrow.
I saw some of the riders yesterday. Like Candice King is not showing here, and she was watching the class in her bathing suit. She'd come up and watch a few that went, and then she'd run back and play in the water. And
obviously showing something. Lucky her.
And Mario Deloria was doing the same thing. I thought it was really cute.
There we go. Dodo de Miranda now. His own AD Ramenhof's Bogino, been a several-time winner on the Longines Global Champions Tour. 15 years of age now by Balubé de Rouet, 2-time Olympic bronze medalist. Wins in Doha and Valkenswaard, already on his list of accolades. Competed in most of the legs of the Longines Global Champions Tour last season.
Yeah, he's a regular on the tour, isn't he?
And he's been based out in Florida as well for the winter months.
Yeah, and Tina's been competing and has a lovely horse. She started back in the big classes.
Yeah.
Dota rides such beautiful style. His leg is so tight. You know, he's very. He's a teammate of Rodrigo Pessoa, and I think he emulates that style. The classic style of riding is going to win out in the end because you're in the most balanced position. You're staying out of the way of the horse, giving the horse a chance to use his athletic.
Hello, Doda. There we go. It's a quick one as well.
Look at that.
74.22 and clear.
That's what we've been waiting on.
It is. Doda Miranda gives us the first of the clears.
All right. He was quick too, wasn't he?
Yeah. Yes, again, because the order in the next round, the quickest to the clears will go last.
That's right. They go in reverse order of their time. That's a good point.
So Doda, could well be last to go. We'll wait and see.
So the time has not been a factor today if riders just ride the lines. There's been a couple time faults, but only if they had run into some trouble. Oh, there we got some excitement.
Thank you.
I believe maybe they're fans of Dota.
I know exactly who that is. Yes, they certainly are. Making the trip down from Wellington as well. Okay, now to Lucy Davis with the Old Oak Farms Baron. 11-year-old My for Pleasure. She was the young talent that at 20 years of age was the youngest winner on the Longines Global Champions Tour in Lausanne a couple of seasons ago. Then went on last year to be a bronze medalist in the World Equestrian Games at the team competition there alongside.
And what a fabulous win she had at Lausanne. Oh, and her family was there. I love this horse. I love this combination. He's so athletic. He can do some amazing things in the air. And Lucy's a beautiful rider, came up through our American system. It's just a lovely combination to watch. She's a real talent and, you know, one of the stars of this younger generation that Chef d'Equipe Robert Bridlin of the United States is trying to build. It's too bad. Had that down coming in and then jumped the heck out of the rest of it. You know, he's always a foot, he has a rail or he's a foot over it. Look at that, several feet over it. That was a bit of a lazy rail. She rushed the turn a little bit, but he could have helped her out there. It was just a bit of a lazy rail. But again, you know, it's early in the season. A lot of these horses are just starting back. They haven't done a lot of competitions, ones that had big years last year. And it just takes a while to get the fitness, to get the rideability, to just get back in the swing.
Well, we'll finish on the 8 faults overall, 73.13, 8 there, 2 down for Lucy Davis and the Old Oak Farms Baron. So the one clear so far, Doda Miranda clears 74.22.
So coming to the combination, she just rubbed that. She came forward, looked like she rode forward to the base, which is exactly the way you want to ride, but he just kind of pushed it off, pushed it out of the way, jumping up, and then just jumped beautifully the rest of the way. Here, she just rushed that turn a little bit, and he just got a little, I don't want to say lazy, but he just was a little careless, maybe.
Well, now on course is the USA's Todd Minicus, Two Swans Farms Babaloo, 10-year-old by Beluda Reyes, just notched up a win here in our previous class in the El Rock Trophy. And he's coming out this week all guns blazing, isn't he? He's won 2 Grand Prix in the season so far in Florida.
Todd is such a competitor. I love to watch her ride. I love this mare. I first saw her last year. It was at the Gold Cup, one of the big Grand Prix in the fall, and she was just brilliant. You know, very young and just coming along, and just very special. I think he feels like this could be one of the best horses he's had. Oh. She's usually so expressive, so dramatic with her hind end. It's, you know, it's rare for her to have a rail behind. She's gives it that little extra kick up. But he won the class just before this on Quality Girl. He was really a great ride.
Early to go, went pretty fast, and no one could catch him. He was able to almost go wire to wire. Finishes on a total of 8 this time, 74.95 there for Todd Minikus.
Yeah, that's unusual. I think could be a lot of it the heat.
Yeah.
I think these horses are getting a little tired. But that's all the things you have to deal with. You just have, it's early in the year and they just possibly aren't as fit as they will be later in the year, but whatever.
There we go, plenty of glamour on show. Let's have a look at let's have a look back at the jumpers.
Oh gosh. Just couldn't have jumped the combination any better. Then he came to the double, just caught it behind. Usually this mare really kicks up behind it and finishes her jump, and she just didn't quite finish that time.
Well, now to Georgina Bloomberg. We mentioned her already. The Gotham Enterprises Lily, 11-year-old mare. Georgina, who's been quietly having a very, very good season. Won a 3-star Grand Prix earlier in the season. Top 3 last week in the $500,000 class up in Palm Beach as well.
She won a big Grand Prix, in Palm Beach with this horse, which has been her second horse. Juvena has been her top horse. She won the Central Park Grand Prix. Ooh, that was lucky. She kind of climbed around that rail, but it stayed.
Climbed up and climbed down.
And this mare has just come on strong and been a surprise. She's just jumped clear round after clear round. And Georgina just couldn't be more thrilled.
Yeah.
Oh, she's really jumping to the...
Yeah.
Really jumped to the corner there. And looked like the cup even came out. Those breakaway cups, she may have even hit the standard that caused it to drop.
Needs to stay on the 4, really, still be in contention.
She needs to stay on the 4, and she's been quick. She's aware of the time.
Yeah. And she's one that's really sped up in her rounds in recent times as well, hasn't she? I mean, she's producing some very quick rounds. That's a quick one.
She used to have a lot of time faults early on, but that was very quick. There's her dad.
Michael.
He's got to be pleased, though. I mean, that was
the quickest. That's the quickest of the full faulters by a long way. 72.60. Georgina
That's
Blue.
good for her. You know, here we see what happened. The mare really shot off. She may have seen something that spooked her in the crowd, but it's almost like she hit the standard. See how the cup fell?
Yeah.
And those are breakaway cups on the back rails. I'm not sure she would have had that down if something was jarred.
There's Dad watching. Ooh, yeah. Intense.
But she's still in there, like you said.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a very smart ride.
Yeah.
She stayed aware of the time, and she wasn't rushed anywhere. That didn't cause the rail. And she's right in there, being a 3-round class.
Meredith Michaels Beerbaum now, former winner on several occasions on the Longines Global Champions Tour. This is the very exciting 10-year-old Fibonacci for the Artemis Farms.
It was interesting. I was watching. Meredith was warming up long before everybody else got on, and she was doing a lot of long trots and long gallops, really allowing this horse to open up and get loose. It looked like lots of flat work. Oh, he really gives it some air.
Absolutely.
It's very interesting how Meredith finds these horses that have such dramatic jumps. I mean, that's a very unique style, but Shutterfly had a really unique style. Her other horse, Atlanta, is just jumps with a lot. He just blooms up over the fence.
She's won a 5-star Grand Prix a few weeks ago. Again, she's another that spent the winter in Florida. Finished second in another one, too. So
Meredith knows what horses suit her, and she has her own style, and they really become her mounts. She's also a very clever rider and such a successful rider. She's developed a combination of the American and the German style. She has a beautiful leg, but she sits further back, rides with a longer rein.
Yeah.
Oh, looked like that she came around the turn. He kind of shifted a little bit. She just didn't quite get him set up for the distance she wanted. Again, just a single fence, not a part of a tricky line or anything. That's disappointing. And what was her time?
75.58. She's the just down there.
The third fastest of the 4, I believe.
4 spot overall.
So let's see.
Yeah.
You just he just had it down. It looked like, we didn't see a little earlier on, he looked a little dodgy, got a little dodgy a couple strides out. And I don't think she got there exactly like she wanted to. She was, yeah, she says that she's thinking that should have been clear.
Yeah. Well, she will wait and see. Tiffany Foster now for Canada, the Artisan Farms Triple X the third. For Tiffany, another regular of the Canadian squads. And under the watchful eye of Eric Lamars, as we know, former rider Ben Mayer, Olympic gold medalist with this ride, and she's really paired up well with this. This has looked absolutely fantastic since they got together.
You know, and that's hard to do, to ride a horse after someone like Ben Mayer, who had tremendous success. It's hard to develop a sort of a connection with a horse after they've had a great connection with a different rider. She's become a really solid member of the Canadian team. Well, the triple combination has taken its toll, all three parts of it. Coming in, the middle fence, and then coming out. When you think about when they're jumping these fences, the difference in being clear and having a rail is like an inch, jumping an inch too low.
And the amazing things with the cameras that we have now, you can see the poles, and very few horses don't touch a single pole on the way around. There's little touches here and there, tiny little rattles, but we can see how close it gets, and just sometimes. And
the planks are always difficult to jump because they sit on such absolutely flat cups.
Well, we'll finish on the 8-foot 74.40. It is 8 this time, into 11th spot so far for Tiffany Foster and Triple X the third. It's taking some jumping, Melanie.
It is taking some jumping, and it's going to be an interesting class because being the second round will tell us a lot.
Yeah.
Sometimes horses that have had 4 in the first round, they get a good bump, they'll come back sharper, and we may see more clear rounds in the second round. Others are going to be, a little tired, and they may end up having more rails. So it just it's sort of anybody's class for sure at this point.
Dodo Miranda there, the early clear so far out of the warm-up, giving the next instruction for Waifatina coming up shortly. The rest, I think, just giving instructions to bring a drink, I think. So that sounds about a plan to me. Yeah, absolutely.
A little bubbly.
Laura Kraut now, Nouvelle, US rider, with the 11-year-old by Solitaire. Started the season well on the Great Cedric, winning the Trump Invitational. Then went on to win Grand Prix in Ocala. Has had a host of wins.
Yeah, Laura certainly is most known for her partner, Cedric, who's just been such a fabulous horse for her. But he's getting on in years, and she really picks and chooses where to show him. Certain venues suit him a little better, and she knows him so well. This is a horse that she's developing to, be a strong Grand Prix horse for her as well. Because riders now, you need more than one, you need more than two. I mean, you can have 4 or 5. There's so many competitions, so much money out there. And if you don't do well in the computer ranking classes, you don't get invited to shows, you don't get invited to ride on teams. It's tough. There's a lot to manage nowadays. This mare also showed yesterday's class, so, but she looks like she has plenty of energy to go the distance.
And this is going to be pretty quick as well. On the 4, 73.39. Looking down, that'll be the second quickest of the 4 falters. Georgina Bloomberg just a little quicker on 72.60.
No flies on Laura. She knows what's at stake. She knows exactly every second on that clock. These riders have to have a clock in their head. They have to know exactly where they are. Because it means a lot. It's a difference in a lot of money.
Yeah. Well, she seems happy enough.
She does, doesn't she? You can tell by their faces, can't you? She looks very happy.
Venezuela's Pablo Barrios now with the 10-year-old Antares for the Venezuelan rider. And,
I think he was third in the 5-star class before this.
He was. Yes, he's been there about a week and for much of the Florida circuit.
Yeah, he's in the ring whenever that gate opens. He has a... Oh, that's a shame.
Competed at World Equestrian Games last year. Competed individually at the Olympics in 2008. He's actually a former architect as well, I found out. Was doing that for 10 years as well. So good
and
bit
then
of a break.
I thought that was interesting too, to know that with him. Sort of like course designing. Maybe he'll become a course designer. Put the two together. So Uliano that does the courses here, Stephen, he does quite a few of the.
He will do something
tour,
like
right?
8, I think he said to me this year, out of the 15. So just a grand, well, I suppose you could call it the halfway mark, with 15 being an odd number, but yes, he'll be their halfway mark. But we'll see lots of different faces around the different venues as we go around the world.
I think Steve Stevens told me that they asked him if he would be interested in doing the courses here because he provided all these beautiful jumps, and he said, you know, he just thought it's an odd venue because he's always done. Well, that was for last night, to the American Invitational, but he's always done those courses. But he said, you know, Juliano's used to doing in these measurements and this type of ring, and he just felt that was a better choice.
I was actually watching a few with Steve yesterday, and he was loving being here, loving the whole thing, taking it all in. He was
and not having to work probably.
Absolutely,
you know?
yeah, Steve, who was 2008 Olympic course designer, and well, total of 12 there, 77.32 there for Pablo Barrios and Antares. Well, now to Greece, and Athena Onassis Miranda, 80 Rakamjo, 10-year-old by Diamantosemi. And this one is one that really stepped up and has looked good. Dodo Miranda, their husband, watching. He's already posted clear. She unfortunately lost the fantastic grey Camille Z in Geneva last year after a bad fall, and really been building over the last few months her own confidence and a new horse, new combination. But they're starting to look like that combination.
You know, I've had people tell me that this is a great partnership. They love this horse, and she's just starting to really get up to this level. And we saw him go yesterday, and it was really nice. He's a beautiful jumper, and just jumps so easy. And Tina's always, you know, she's always had to work on her confidence. She doesn't think she's as good a rider as she is. She has a great eye, a great feel, and she's just the right horse. Really helps her, and I think she's found it.
Yeah.
Well, the horse is so important as far as the confidence factor for the rise. Oh, that's too bad. He jumped in and just took a big old stride on the inside and just couldn't get backed off for the oxer. It is so nice to see her riding so well. And plenty of confidence. She rode that as well as anybody. That was unfortunate.
Well, on the 4, and it is lower down on the speed-wise from our 4 falls at 78.06. Athena Onassis Miranda, but good to see a good round for them, and a combination that I know will soon build throughout the season. The Longines Global Champions Tour, just to get on this side.
He just landed. He took such a huge stride there that he really got deep to the out.
Ran out of room.
You could see he just didn't even have time to get his legs up, so he really punched that out. Oh, lucky he didn't land on that rail. But otherwise, she looks pleased. I hope she is.
Jane Richard Phillips now. Pablo de Verton, the Swiss rider, with his 12-year-old by Andiamo. Ambassadress for Longines. Has been for some time now, and it was competing in all legs of the Longines Global Champions Tour last season. Successfully, indeed, several wins in the 5-star sections there, and well, has continued to bite away at the other riders. Did a great job. Finished 7th in the last Grand Prix of the season in Doha.
She's really having to argue a little bit with this horse, but she's getting it done so far. It's not the prettiest round, but she's giving it a go. Sort of ran out of luck there in front of the combination. This horse doesn't look tired, does he?
No.
He's a little Energizer
No,
bunny. Yeah, she's having a little trouble controlling him.
He's going to be one of the quickest fours.
Yeah.
72.70 is the quickest four so far. There's husband Ignaz Phillips watching on.
Oh, I don't know what he was thinking, but all right. Well, that's a good score. She made it work. You know, she just made it work.
72.17, as I say, quick time. As you say, ball of energy coming through. First part of the double just going down. Still just the one clear as we get towards the halfway stage. And our own Nod to Bay watch is coming slowly. We've got all of them out in their beachwear watching.
That was cute.
Tino, as I say, was a little further down. Now it is Katie Dinan. Katie Dinan for the USA. Staccarado, 10-year-old by Staccato Gold. You were right, string this season as well. Training with Beat Mandley. Former winner of a host of top classes, including the Grand Prix at the National Horse Show.
Yes, when Katie started in the Grand Prix, she was the exclusively trained by McLean.
Yeah.
This was his only student, and he just put such a good foundation and gave her found good horses for her and gave her great experience. And, you know, as all these riders, they like to move on and work with different mentors, and so she's with Beat Manley now. She's still, I don't think she's graduated yet from Harvard.
No, she hasn't.
And she's just a really brilliant gal and very intellectual rider.
Yeah, she was talking to me the other day about maybe doing her doctorate and so forth as well as competing at this top level. It's okay.
Yes, and she could do it easily. I'm sure these girls like this are commuting back and forth from school. It's amazing that they can. All right, Katie, let's see, 4 more jumps. Lovely to have another clear, wouldn't it? She's well known for her lovely mount, Nougat.
Yeah, Nougat de Valle.
It's just, come on. Oh, that is fantastic for her. What a good ride. I mean, that horse didn't look easy.
Yeah.
He was zigging and zagging, and she was trying to keep it together. Good for Katie.
And you know what's lovely? I've just looked down the line of the beach line of the people that are just coming and watching, and they're all going nuts for this, which is great.
I just think it is so fun. Here she is through that triple combination. Again, this horse is very expressive, isn't he, with his front end and his hind end. Look at that little extra kick he gives in the air. But he looks difficult. He doesn't go straight. You know, he's kind of slipping out the shoulder out this way and then his hip out that way. He gets a little crooked, but she is thrilled. It's a big job just to keep him on line on the approach to the fence.
Well, now the lady in her hometown. It is Margie Goldstein-Engel with the 11-year-old Royce for the Elm Rock Partners. Competed at the Nations Cup final last season.
She's even got her Miami Beach sunglasses on. I don't blame Margie. That glare is so difficult to see on the sand.
Yeah. 2000 Olympics she competed in. She has well over 200 Grand Prix wins to her name.
And there's no one any more competitive. Margie's a great person. Always has a good joke to tell you. She's just so fun to be around, but just such a great competitor. Now, that was a quick turn. She's thinking about being quick right off the back. And Royce is probably one of the scoopiest horses in the sport. He just, Margie says he could just jump anything. He just felt like he could jump a house. Margie's, had some injuries in her career. Watching her walk on the ground, it's amazing she can even ride, but she just toughs it out and never complains, and she's just always ready to go. She just loves the sport. Her husband, Steve Engel, that works on a lot of horses. They're just a great couple. Ooh, fans are going to go crazy if she can pull it off. Come on, Royce.
Well,
All right, now we're seeing some jumping.
Absolutely. Royce, a cruise of a rise, does it once again. 73-1-2. Margie Engel and Royce book their place in the next round. It takes us up to 3 of them clear now. So Margie joining Dodo Miranda and Katie Dynan at this stage. So it's all building up very, very nicely into the next round of this Longines Global Champions Tour Grand Prix, and the home crowd are definitely going to be cheering her on, aren't they?
Oh yes, the hometown gal, absolutely. That was really, really fun to watch. Just a beautiful ride, jumped so easy.
Lovely round from Margie, and as I say, she joins the clears.
Yeah, she's being congratulated by Liliana, the course designer.
Yeah, he loves to get in there, loves to talk to the riders, loves to shake their hands when they've done well. He's so expressive.
I think that is fun. I do. He's really into it. Really watches everybody, and he wants it to be a good class, obviously.
There we sit at the moment. Those are the clears at this stage. We're just going to take a break for a few moments' time as they drag the arena, just to make sure that good surface is still absolutely perfect for all those coming. Those are the clears at this stage. So Margie, Goldstein, Dodo Miranda and Katie Dine. A little further down, you can see all of those fourfalls. And again, we've talked about the Marco Vigliano's courses often just one fence, but they fall all over the place, and that's where they're coming. Whole host of them on four.
Yeah, and they're safe courses. I mean, you don't see horses getting in trouble. There are no traps. They can be tricky, but not trappy. There's a big difference between those two words. He doesn't want horses and riders to get into trouble, but riders have to be, they have to be very correct, and the horses have to be adjustable, and they have to ride the lines well with accuracy.
Absolutely. Well, those are a few further down the order, our early retirements. So we're going to have another look at Margie's round, because at the moment she is the quickest of our clears as well. 73-1-2, as we can see the crowd just taking a little break as we all take a breather for a moment.
Whoa, I see some bikinis there.
Absolutely. I'm not looking, honest, I promise.
Oh, my goodness. There's a smart cameraman. He knows where to point that camera.
Absolutely. That looks fun as well. That looks a good one.
Yeah, that's what's refreshing.
Take that. Absolutely. Maybe that's for tomorrow. And there in hospitality, finest food, drink, and ambience you'll find anywhere in the world.
Chris and George Talbert. Chris is president of our U.S. Equestrian Federation.
Well, let's have a look at the round of Margie once again. And this was the combination of their best, isn't it?
It is, and it's always more relaxing to watch after you know the result. I like watching the replay when you know she's already gone clean.
Yes.
She was very quick around that turn, again, thinking of the time. But not hurrying her horse. There's a difference between galloping too fast and rushing your horse, and just being clever, slicing the turns so that you gain time on your turns on the ends of the ring, not by going faster. She set him up well for this. And it's such a contrast. Margie's so tiny, and Royce is so big, has a huge stride, but she's tight as a little tick up there, and so accurate as a rider. He is that was a careful ride. He was a careful horse. I mean, he made a real effort at every jump to be clear.
Well, there she is, relaxing afterwards, focused as ever. Interested to know what's going on behind those sunglasses at the moment, the mind whirring away. No issue at all, and it's a lovely afternoon. I've just been looking up in the sky and seeing, we get all the planes going past with messages on them, and one of them has just gone past, said, good luck to the Qatari team in Miami. So the two Qatari riders.
Amazing. I saw happy birthday Louise earlier.
Yeah.
I don't know Louise.
I wonder if we could move our position to there.
That would be mighty fun. Yes, we'd have a little better breeze. But we have a pretty good view here, so we're not complaining.
Absolutely not. A beautiful afternoon.
And now an even better view.
Well, absolutely. Why not?
But it is
some
just
days
amazing.
I love coming to the office.
I know, and it's just amazing to think that we're just over a little bit to our right, and there's the view we see right there.
Well, out to the ocean. The surf just breaking on the shore. And the bottles just being popped inside. I think it's mainly fruit just looking down. It's quite a hot day, actually. But many famous names down there, and as I say, those that have been competing throughout the week too.
There's Marcus Beerbaum Meredith sitting there next to him. He's describing something quite
He's giving it
expressive,
the full animation.
Yes.
And again, you can see plenty of sunglasses on. It is a bright day here today, which is gorgeous to say. A great start to the season.
I wonder if we could order from over there, Stephen, if something could run us over.
I think I'll try
a little
texting.
spot of cheese or a grape or two.
Welcome to the work end. Yeah, we'll text over and see what happens from that side of things. Then having a little look down, we've got those in the warm-up just working things out. And those that have got it worked out is back on track. We get back underway with Edwina Thompson-Alexander for Australia. Linty Tequila. And this has looked a very impressive ride in recent months. Won a very big Grand Prix in Al Shakab in Doha a few weeks ago. And is one that, for want of a better expression, gives plenty of air overheads. Really has a huge scopy jump. Edwina, two-time winner of the Longines Global Champions Tour. And we'll be interested to see how this combination fare.
Yeah, and I was talking to Edwina earlier, and she just loves this special. And then she rode her in speed classes, and then she'd ride her in a little bigger class, and then back to a speed. And she said she just always was super. And now she's one of her favorites. She's definitely a horse that can jump these big courses. With ease.
Yeah. They look very impressive. We're looking at some pictures from Doha of the horse over a triple bar, and if you see it's just airborne over it. It's like a jump jet.
You know, and we mentioned, now that was too bad.
Partner Jan in the screen watching.
She just cut down a little behind there, just didn't quite jump across the oxer. She has so much spring that Edwina probably just didn't think she needed any extra leg there. But still, mare suits Edwina. You know, she looks like she's easy. She said, though, she sort of has developed a bit for her. She was really strong at first, and she's found just the right snaffle or gag combination for her. Oh, that's too bad. Oh gosh, 8 falls is not gonna help her.
No, finishing on the 8 faults there, 73.89. It is 8 this time for Edwina Thompson-Alexander. Linty Tequila, but I know that's a horse we'll see a lot more of in the season.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I mean,
I love that combination for Edwina. I love this mare.
And I was there when they won in Doha a few weeks ago, and the jump off was superb. It was a flat to the boards jump off, and she won it really,
going
really well.
away. There haven't been any triple bars in the courses, in the last couple courses. When you mentioned triple bar, I just thought of that.
I think if you take off on one, you might land in the ocean here.
Well, maybe that's it. Yeah. And no water jumps, obviously.
No, exactly, bar the big one. Be easy mad now. This is Abigail Wexner's 16-year-old Simon combination that won the World Cup final back in 2013. Then rider who went on to double bronze at the World Equestrian Games last year. Follows on for double gold at the Olympic Games before now. And has been your flag bearer at many big championships, Melanie.
Oh, Beezy's she's a stalwart of the American team. Has ridden the anchor position for so long, always so dependable. Can just handle the pressure of any big-time competition. And she's forged a great partnership with Simon. He was a little difficult at first because he was ridden by Jerome Doubledam. He's a strong guy and a great rider. And he would make a little bid at the last minute to the jump. It just kind of it was a little tough for her, but she knows how to anticipate that. And
we can see husband John watching on. He usually try not to stand too close because the leg kicks back.
I know.
Rides every stride.
Come on, Bees.
she has so many great horses. This horse, Cortez, that just has trouble deciding which one to use in which class. But this horse is a little better in smaller arenas. He's very handy. That's why she chose him.
One more. There we go.
Whoa. Oh, man. That was a heart stopper, you know. She just caught that distance, ended up long to the plank, and she went for it, and then that launched her into the line so deep that the four got so tight to the oxer. It's a good thing he can jump from a deep spot because he bailed himself out of that. Here he made that bid, and I'm sorry. He jumped beautifully through. He's such a careful horse. It's just the rideability has been a little troublesome at times, but she's really got a hold of that with her, does such beautiful flat work, and they're a great combination now. But I think she can thank him for jumping that last line clear, because he did the work.
So it's Steve Gerda now from one gold medalist to another. This was the right, Nina de Busanet, 14-year-old by Cannon for Steve. Now again, good to see him here in Miami. He wouldn't come across to the US too often, so a great chance for some of the younger riders to see him and some of the fans too.
Exactly, we've seen him at the World Cup, which will be in a couple weeks in Las Vegas. But this horse, another horse that can be a bit difficult to ride, a bit difficult in the mouth, but Steve has that figured out. Sometimes he has to just go with it, even though it looks a little ragged. He knows this horse so well.
This winner in the World Cup qualifier in Gothenburg this season, as you say, heads to the Las Vegas to the World Cup final. Twice he's been second in it, and this could be the one, hopefully.
So I think these horses, they go back to Europe and then fly back again because of the quarantine situation. They don't, even though the World Cup is just 2 weeks away, they don't stay in this country, which seems too bad. But as you were saying, Stephen, the flying is so easy on the horses.
Absolutely.
It's kind of nice to be able to sleep in your own bed.
Well, I was going to say the same thing, really. I'm not sure what that's like. I think that's what I mean by that. Too much time on the road. On the 4. Still leaves himself in with a chance. 75.04, certainly of a good place. Finishing on the 4, Steve Gerda, Nida de Busanet.
He may end up being on the cusp, though. How fast a 4? He's in 9th, is he?
He's 8th spot at the moment, just looking down. Fastest of the 4s at the moment is Jane Richard Phillips, then Georgina. Laura Crouch, Steve Gerda after that. So 8th quickest at the moment, 4 clears at this stage. He's going to be on the edge.
Yeah, so 10 of the next 20 have to be either clear or faster 4.
Yeah.
I mean, it could happen. We've got a lot of good riders here coming up.
Sevilla, you'll probably be first or second to go in the jump off. Well, time ticks away. It's a beautiful day here in Miami.
It is a magnificent day. There's hardly a cloud. There goes another banner.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's
That's our good luck to the Qatari team one in Miami.
I think that's fantastic. I love that. I wonder what that cost.
No idea.
I guess I don't have to worry.
Absolutely.
But I think that's really fun.
Qatar to Saudi.
Yeah, they're great. They've been great for the sport.
Abdullah Shabatli now. Talan. Individual Olympic gold medalist in the Asian Games. Silver medalist last time on US soil at the World Equestrian Games in Kentucky.
Yeah, it was really fun to see him ride all the different horses there. They have put together a team of wonderful horses.
Bronze medalist in the Olympics in 2012 with that team.
He rode that well. He really got his horse together before he made the turn. Oh, all of a sudden he's really thinking about the time. He kind of caught that long distance out of the turn there and ended up a little too long. That's too bad. That's the only rail he had. Yeah, he just...
Well, finishes on the 475.16 will drop him into ninth place so far, Abdullah Shabatli. I think that might be one that maybe doesn't just quite feature in that second round.
Yeah, that rail, they sort of come around that turn. It's a bit of a blind turn because there's a jump in the way, and then he just caught it really forward and just met it too long. I think he started to worry about the time, and it got the best of him. But gosh, 4 faults is... He's in some very good company here today with 4 faults.
Score du jour, there's quite a few of those. Looking on down here. You see them out in the warm-up. But on the field is Manuel Zanatelli for Brazil. Suite de Beaufort for Eric Levelois, riding for the Ashford farm of Ender Carroll. Big setup he's got now with a host of horses training, and his top rider here, Manuel Zanatelli, the former Irish rider. Successful producer, even gets in the saddle occasionally too, watching on.
For the most part, the horses have jumped that combination very well.
Yeah.
Wait,
there's Ender watching.
Get it. Perfect.
Literally.
Yeah.
Ah.
Four seems to be the most popular score.
Now, the thing is, he needs to move up the gears because he wants to be round about the 74, 75 if he's going to stand a chance of featuring maybe even less than that.
And at that point, there's really no place to make up a lot of time.
No.
It doesn't matter so much now because of the 8 faults.
Well, finishes on the 8, 76.20. Yes, we'll drop them out to the running for the second round for Manuel Zanatelli's Suite de Beaufort. Manuel Zanatelli, an exciting name for the sport. I know we'll see a lot more of. The next generation in their early 20s.
Well, there's really only 2 lines that the riders have chosen different options. The combinations have taken their toll, but the line from 5C, from the triplet combination to the narrow, the skinny fence, some riders have opted to stay out and add a 6 stride. Most of them have gone direct in the 5.
Ben Mayer on course with Diva the Sakova, Tatiana Korsakova, 10-year-old by Cannon. There was another big 5-star winner up in Florida, finished second in the Grand Prix there.
Oh, and has an early rail.
This is a horse that's really stepped up in Ben's string. I mean, we know him from Senna as well, London winner a couple of seasons ago on the Longines Global Champions Tour, as well as European gold medal winning team and Olympic team gold.
And then Triple X, he's had some really top horses. He's really moving up, but with 8 faults. I can't imagine he'll get in there with 8 faults.
Yeah. But it's been a horse that's jumped a lot of clear rounds so far. It's actually bred by Liz Edgar. It was from their very last top ride in debutante. Unfortunately not today, but we'll see a lot more of that one. It's produced some very consistent rounds and really not the sort of form we've seen from Diva so far.
Yeah, been such a beautiful rider, and he's number 1 in the world for quite a while there, and now Scott Brash's fellow British friend is He's held that spot for a while.
He
now.
has, I think, coming up to certainly 16 months. If he's got it this was 17, we're heading towards a record. But it's getting very, very close between him, Luca, and Daniel Doistrup there. I think
right?
it could
Yeah.
be touch and go whether they're still there. Rosanna de Park, Eric Lamaze, the Arson Farm and Tory Pine Stable, 10-year-old by Cannon. The 2008 Olympic gold medalist. Eric, we've already mentioned, mentoring a number of those riders that we've seen at this stage.
We really have a host of gold medalists in this competition. Just one after the other.
Competed in 5 legs of the Longines Global Champions Tour last year: London, Chantilly, Hamburg, Madrid, and Antwerp.
He pretty much bases in Europe in the summer now, and in Belgium, I believe.
Yes. As do a number of the American riders now. Bases in Florida and in Belgium or Holland, somewhere around there. That gives them a central position. There won't be too many more weeks before there's after the World Cup final, a big exodus over to Europe. Be hot and sunny there by then, hopefully. Still some fantastic sport to come in the USA as well, of course, throughout the summer months.
Oh, he really jumped that well. It's interesting that early on I thought people would just ride down there in 6 strides, but so many riders now are adding the stride to the double combination because the 6 just gets you a little too flat and jumping in too deep. And that's something that you notice when you are able to watch the riders go. They can see how that line is riding. It really helps the riders later on to see that that line is really better ridden, adding stride. All right.
There we go. Eric Lamaze.
That's great.
74.65 gives us the 5th of the clears.
We want to have, it's always fun when a clear round wins a big class, you know. Sometimes it isn't meant to be, but it'd be really fun to have a jump off and have a clear round win.
Oh, we've got a way to go yet, don't you worry.
It's a good shot of the combination. And then the horse just made such an effort here. Really tried hard over that little narrow fence.
Well, Eric Lamaze joining the group so far. The 5 clear rounds at this stage: BC Man, Katie Dine, and Eric Lamaze did the quickest of them. Margie Goldstein Engel at this stage, 73.
He looked very happy there with his clear.
Lauren Huff now, the Ooh La La group's Ooh La La, an 11-year-old mare by Orlando.
And it is hard not to root for this little mare. I love this little mare. When Lauren first got her, you just thought she was a great speed horse, and I think most people thought that was probably the limit. But she just last year, I think at the big, Lauren told me at the big $1 million Grand Prix in Ocala, she took her because her other horse wasn't able to go, and she just jumped around like she said, "Wow, I think I have something here."
And she jumped well in the $1 million a few weeks ago as well.
And she jumped a clear run at Aachen last year. I mean, she's just it's incredible. She's tiny. And oftentimes Lauren will add the stride just to give her a little momentum and keep the RPMs up. But I've never seen her struggle over anything. And she's she's just so careful. She gets in a jump off.
Yeah, exactly.
She is fast.
Oh, this is one that can really scoot around.
Oh, she's just low to the ground.
Yeah. It's like dropping it into sport mode. Drops down and off she goes. No, she could still needs to leave that. Yes. It's a quick 4, 72.38. Yes.
That's Missy Clark, who's been helping Lauren on the ground. Oh, she came around the turn thinking of the time, and it looked like the mare just, I don't know, she looked off or whatever. Just looked like she didn't really have her focus. And because she's such a careful mare, she'd normally make a much better effort there. So yeah, she kind of drifted, her body kind of went to the right, and her head was kind of looking to the left. She just wasn't in perfect balance there at the takeoff, but boy, she jumped the rest of the course great.
So Lauren Huff will go into 7th position at the moment on 4 fault, 72.38, drops Georgina Bloomberg down to 8. Jane Richard Phillips is the quickest of our fours in 6th position at the moment with those 5 clears on the scoreboard. Luciana Deniz now. This is Apollonina, and this is an 11-year-old by Gardens Apollo. Luciana representing Portugal, originally from Brazil, based in Germany in fact, or has been for some time. Again, close competitor on the Longines Global Champions Tour, 2nd last year in Cannes, and one that looks as though and I know she does, she just enjoys her horses, enjoys her sport, absolutely lives for it and loves it.
She seems to, and she just shows all the time, and she's had a lot of great results. But I think you're right, she just seems to really love it.
Twice competing in the Olympic Games. Could we? Yes,
oh my
we
gosh. Great round for her.
Well, is the 6 of the clears. Yes, adds to them now. Luciana Deniz and Apollonia. And this takes her into 3rd position so far. 3rd quickest of the clears. Looking down, our 18th position at the moment is 4 fault 78.06. That's Athena and Zambrana. There's the cheer. The crowd have taken her 2.5 already.
I love the way she always reaches down,
Yeah.
gives her horse credit, kisses her horse's neck.
Well, now to the Longines World number 1, Scott Brash, Lord Lady Harris and Lord Lady Kirkham's Hello Sanctos, 2-time winner of the Longines Global Champions Tour Championship, and sealed that again in Doha last year, finishing 4th that year before, won the Grand Prix to win it, won 3 Grand Prix last year on the LGCT, Cannes, London and Estoril, and really has been, and is not only the world number 1 rider but the world number 1 horse as well.
And Scott really burst onto the scene, didn't he? He went from a complete unknown in a couple years to number 1 in the world. He's such an humble young man, always a gentleman, and just really appreciates his horses. To me, he's a great natural rider. He just really flows with the horse. He won the big class yesterday with the young one.
He did. Hello Forever yesterday.
He's got to feel really
American
good about that.
Yeah. Yeah, that looks a very impressive horse. I mean, he's built up the next string as well. Hello Milady is another one that we saw last year that looks very good mare indeed. Hello Forever joining them now. Now Scott, is he going to make this look? He does, like a walk in the beach as opposed to a walk in the park.
Yeah,
Great Hannah there watching. Oh.
That was a little tricky. He was a little forward down the last line, jumped in pretty strong, and had to really got pretty deep to the last fence. But he knew just what he needed to do to jump that clear. Well done. That was fun to watch.
Well trusted combination. 7 clears now over Uliano Fezzani's course. I think he's probably got it right once again. We'll see. But a lovely round from Scott.
And his horse he looks so fresh.
Yeah.
Hello Sanctos. He just looks like he's jumping for fun.
He's not a horse that he overjumps. He'll save the horse for the big occasion and really
it pays
plots
off.
his way.
Yeah. He just looked as fresh as any horse, even fresher than any horse that came in today.
Well, moving to Peter de Vos now, moving down the order slightly to the Belgian rider with Candy. This was his winning ride in Spruce Meadows at the Masters a couple of seasons ago. Last year won the Grand Prix in Shanghai. That was with a prize fund of $1.1 million. we're heading there again in a few weeks' time.
So did we skipped over?
I think Simon's not coming. Simon de Lest was due to come forward. We're going to go to Peter de Vos instead. Peter with two very good horses here in Dream of India Greenfield that he jumped in a little earlier on his ride from Shanghai, and this top ride of Candy back in action.
Okay, Candy, let's see if you can give us a clear. Candy has a giant stride on her. She's a big mare.
And you can see why may well have been suited to the likes of Spruce Meadows with that huge grass arena.
Just naturally so fast because of the stride. Now we see the shadows coming in again on this side of the arena. So some of the jumps are in the broad daylight and some are a bit shadowed, but the horses seem to work that out. It's amazing how horses have adapted to these smaller arenas. And I remember when they first brought out those jumbotrons. Whoa!
Good rounds. 72.85. He is going to be, yes, he is going to be quickest so far. Peter de Vos and Candy back in action. That was sweet.
That was an interesting last line.
Yeah.
Wow. Remember when the jumbotrons first came? Those screens, some horses wouldn't even go in the ring. They were so spooky. And now, when you think of there's an ocean to one side and jumbotron, it's just amazing how horses have adapted to the sport.
And how people adapt them to it. I know there's a trick of some have even TVs in the stable next, so they get used to those big screens and all that sort of thing. There's all sorts of, they can quietly get used to them at home, and then they don't think anything of it when they come in the ring. Sergio Alvarez Moya, Red Star d'Argent, although that is a bit bigger screen than I might have at home. 10-year-old by Quick Star for the Spanish rider. Makes the trip across, especially for the Longines Global Champions Tour.
You mentioned that about the screens. I remember Norin Jalajoy, a U.S. rider, had a horse that he was spooky at they'd have these wings. Budweiser used to sponsor him. It was a quail, a Shamu ground. He wouldn't go near the jump. He bought the jump and put it in his barn. So the horse would get used to it.
And to tie it full circle, Norman was actually the first winner of the Longines Global Champions Tour back in 2006.
Is that right? Oh, that's
back
cool.
in Palm Beach. We're celebrating 10 years this year.
Yeah.
He was the first winner.
That's fun. Now his son is riding really well, Nick. And doing the Grand Prix.
What a good class a few weeks ago also up in Wales. I think he's calling it a day there. Electing to retire, Sergio Alvarez Moya, Red Star d'Argent. You can see a little breeze coming up out there, but not too much. Well,
I'm sure the riders would like to be not wearing their jackets.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they let them off that one a little earlier on.
Yeah.
But not for this. You're really in them from a few. And actually, the modern material is so breathable. It's a different thing to wearing those old coats that you would wear a big old heavy old.
They were all 100% wool.
Yeah. You wouldn't need to dye it after you wore one today.
No,
I know
these
that.
you just kind of roll up, fold up. They don't have wrinkles. They breathe, like you said. It's like running gear.
Brilliant. Well, Panama hats and straw hats are the order of the day in the grandstands, but it's the hard hats in the main arena. And Daniel Deusser under the world number 3.
And he had a great, what was he, third yesterday?
He was third yesterday in the American Invitational.
He had a great number 3 yesterday in the big class.
Yeah. Daniel Deusser again with Piranella today. Riley was third on yesterday. It's all the 3s for him. World number 3. But number 1 in the Longines World Cup Series last year. Current holder of the title.
I guess some of these riders found it difficult to bring 2 top horses. There were a couple, 3 big jump-off classes and 2 speeds, but to bring a horse for 2 Grand Prix. Difficult.
It's from the Angelstone Partners, really former ride of Keane White. Has fitted well with Daniel. And be a very zippy combination in the jump off if they get to that stage. Pretty hard to hold.
Oh, he's another rider that really handles his height, his length of body well. Stays in beautiful balance on a horse. Jumped the last line really well.
72.72 finishes on the 4, and so we'll take him into 12th place so far for Daniel Deusser. So he has to go and bite his nails or have a glass of lemonade and wait and see whether he's going to be part of it.
Riders like, let's see what Daniel does here. He went down there and did the 6 strides. We've seen a lot of people adding a stride there, and in 7 you see looks like Ian Miller is like in 16th. He's a 4, a little bit slower. He's sort of on the cusp, and Meredith Beerbaum's right after him, so they're kind of a little nervous right now, hoping they can make that second round, but on the cusp, I would say.
Absolutely. Audrey Coulter in 18th spot at the moment on the 4. Here's McLean Ward and Rothschild. Oh, first fence and Rothschild.
Oh, my goodness.
Winners in Antwerp, first leg of the series last year. Now, we had high hopes for them this year. Now, he knows he's got to put the foot down now.
Because he knows there's still a shot.
Yeah.
And I've really grown to appreciate this little horse. I was telling McLean, he's not a horse you want to love just because he doesn't, not the prettiest jumper, but his heart is so big.
Yeah.
He is such a trier. And I said, he wants to win as much as McLean, and that's a lot.
Yeah.
That's saying a lot. You know, he's a very competitive little guy. You can just see his little ears are pinned, but this is just not his day. He's had such a great second, like you said, in both recent $1 million classes, and by a whisker.
Absolutely. And of course, bronze medal at the World Equestrian Games last year as well. I mean, they were in there. But I mean, McLean's exactly describes the horse as you say. An absolute trier will turn inside out to try.
Yes, he will. And you know, he retired. Once Sapphire was gone, it's hard to find another horse that can live up to that standard. And he's no Sapphire, but he's won a lot with him. He's a horse that just, you know, he has. I think I can. He's just a trier.
Finishes on a total of 8 then for McLean Ward. 74.64. I'm afraid we won't be seeing McLean in the next round with the Sagamore Farms Rothschild. Sure, we'll see more of them through the season.
He's a quirky little guy too. I mean, he usually gives this giant kick up and buck up at the end of the course. It's kind of hard to stay with. Yeah, there he jumped up so high in front, he just dropped his hind end. And then, of course, had the first jump down. So disappointment, but you know, that's the sport.
Yeah. Well, now to Dara Kenny. Caroline Lloyd Sans Soucy Z, 12-year-old by Surrealist, competed at the World Equestrian Games for Ireland last season. And based here in the United States, has been based here for some time now. Competed sparingly in the LGCT last year. Chantilly's only appearance, and won a class there. They did a winning one, but
and he won classes in Hickstead. He won classes in Aachen, 5-star classes. Dara's really a winner.
Yeah,
he's a great, you know, one of the top young riders coming along, and he's been in the States now for quite a while. Came over originally to work with Missy Clark and John Brennan, and just stayed for 4 or 5 years. Got a great foundation.
I think we'll be moving between Europe and America more this year by the sounds of it. He'll be coming across for a period to...
He's on his own now, developing his own customers and sponsors and horses.
Oh.
Wow. That just was hard to see from this angle. It just looked like it was just a miss.
Well, we'll finish on the 8 there. Derek Kenny and Sans Saucy-Z. Maybe have another look at this one. Be on the turn.
This is the rail he had down. Just didn't follow through behind.
And then here.
Oh, that's funny. He looked like he might have been a little long. It's hard to tell, but it looked like Dara thought he was okay, and the horse just didn't leave the ground. He just kind of stuttered off the ground. And then Dara did a great job getting him back together for that last big oxer. Just miscommunication there. Something distracted him.
Well, Michael van der Vleuten next. The 10-year-old VDL Group Herrera C by Indoctro. World Equestrian Games gold last year, adds to his Olympic silver team medal. And then went on to the Nations Cup final win.
Another young rider that just, just is really racked up so many top awards for his age. Some a great riding family.
Yeah.
And just came up the right way.
Won the Grand Prix in Madrid last year. Second leg on that occasion of the Longines Global Champions Tour. Will be there in a few weeks' time.
Yeah, to have a Olympic silver medal and a gold World Equestrian Games medal at his age is quite impressive. The horse just jumped that pretty awkward, sort of twisted. Rode that well. He really took that turn very seriously and set up for it. I really like watching this young man ride.
Goes up to 8, I'm afraid. 75.56 means he won't feature in round 2. There's Stanley Van Passion watching on. Costa on his way in just a moment. But Michael van der Vleuten will finish on the 8 this time with that video group Herrera C. Well, there we are. Costa Van Passion. I say he was on course next for Belgium. Alan van Kampenhout, Citizen Guard, Talix. And 11-year-old by Tangelo van der Zoethoven. And what a run he had last year on his proper debut season on the Longines Global Champions Tour. He was 5th in his first ever running within a 5-star Grand Prix. That was in Doha on the Longines Global Champions Tour. That was just one time for to put him in the 5th spot. And then last season finished on the podium in the opening round in Antwerp. And then went on to several other 5-star wins and going close in a host of Grand Prix. 21 years of age now.
This is a new thing, these colored stirrups. We had saw red ones yesterday, now we have green. It's not even Irish.
Ooh, goes down.
Oh, it jumped that line, just picture perfect.
Yeah. Stanley watching.
Yeah, 8 faults is not gonna get a ribbon today.
No.
So we have 7 left to go, and we still have Ian in 16th, Meredith in 17th, and Audrey Coulter in 18th, holding on to those spots. I know they have their fingers crossed.
Yeah. Wait and see. Finish on a total of 12, 75, 17 for Constant Van Passion, Citizen Guard, Telex. see the crowd all the way through, thronged out, watching, and this man would be a popular one. Ken Farrington for the USA, voyeur. Longines world number 4, top-ranked US rider. Win after win, bronze medal at the World Equestrian Games last year.
Ken's such a fun rider to watch. If he gets in the jump off, you know it's going to be fast. And he's really worked on developing quite a nice group of young horses. As we mentioned earlier, you've got to have a whole string. This horse was second, so close to winning the Grand Prix of Aachen.
Yes.
Fastest and just the last fence down in the jump off. He's had some big wins. This is what he considers his top horse at the moment. He's got Yucheko as gray horse,
yes,
and a big winner as well, and Willow also, who he has.
He's got a fair amount of depth within the string, like many of them.
Yes, he does. We've got some young ones coming on, and quite a few horses in the 150 level that could move up. Oh, come on, Ken. Luck may be on his side. It's that stage.
We'll see.
Come on. All right.
It's a tough round
great.
there.
Oh, I love seeing all these clears and some really good ones. Be fun to see in a jump off if we get there.
Yeah, absolutely. 72.86. It'll be clear there for Ken Farrington. And Voyeur takes us up to 9 of the clears so far. Just looking down the order. Meredith Michaels-Beerbaum in the 18th spot now. 4 faults, 75.58. I think we could still see some of the 4 faulters featuring in there, but it's getting a little further down the order with 6 left to come in the first round. Look at that.
This is it bounced up. Look at he hit it with his stomach.
Yeah.
He literally hit it with his stomach coming down. It bounced. You know, if you hit it pushing down, it'll stay. It's when you hit it, you know, and kind of shove it out in front of you. So it's just learning how to hit it just right. But his horse jumped really well. He deserved to be clear.
European champion Roger Ebost, Nippon Del. 14-year-old by Sharif Del, the French rider. Winner on the Longines Global Champions Tour before now, Cannes, Abu Dhabi.
Yeah, he's a regular on the Longines Tour, isn't he?
And fairly usually he would win a class of some shape or form. It's unusual not to see him win one.
It's funny the rule they have now: if your horse is defecating or his tail up, you're
Just
allowed
taking a
to
break.
stop.
Yeah.
And he put his hand up there to ask the judges to stop the timer, and they allow that. He's such a fun guy to have around, isn't he? He's such a fair competitor. He's always always happy and smiling, and really has his own unique style. He sort of sits up in the air and his legs, you know, fling back, but he's very successful in his own style.
Games gold medalist before now, back in the mid-90s. He's been in the top for a long time. Consistently in the world's top 30.
Come on, Boasty. Boy, the riders can't feel like they're home free with these last 2 fences. Oh,
Used everything.
Oh, this is great.
Finish.
That moves Meredith Beerbaum.
Yeah.
Meredith Michaels-Beerbaum out of the top 18, and now Ian Miller is on the cusp. He's number 18.
Yeah, so he sits on 18th position at the moment. The clears grow.
With 5 more to go.
Yeah, 4 faulters that are still in there. Just looking down, 13th spot will be
Oh,
Georgine.
look at that. He absolutely hung a leg.
Yeah.
And it still stayed up. I didn't remember it looking quite that ugly.
So 5 left to go. Well, by my reckoning, quick look down, 13th spot is Georgina Bloomberg at the moment, so she would be safe. It's the others that are in
so we have to work backwards. The worst I can be is...
Yeah, exactly. So the worst she could be is Georgina would start us off in 18th spot if the rest went clear.
Right, there you go.
Let's
so
just
10 clear, that's great.
I can look at those that are safe. Georgina Bloomberg, Lauren Huff, Jane Richard Phillips are 3
Yeah,
there.
that's good. And you know, it's amazing. As we were watching the first part of the class, who would have thought we'd have 10 clean? There were 10 horses went before we had a clear.
Well, Dennis Lynch on course now. Thomas Strauman's Hugo van der Paddenboer. Who had 3 wins in Braunschweig a few weeks ago, won the Grand Prix there as well. Has had a very good run recently. Finished well in La Coruña in Spain just before Christmas too, in the big 5-star there. He's had a very good run indoors. Back outside though, this 8-year-old.
He's having to do a lot of encouraging there. That's a lot for an 8-year-old to see when you think about it. All the distractions in this arena. Well, we've had 2 in a row for Dennis, so see if he can make it 3.
Looking.
Oh wow! He almost hit the standard.
Exactly. I went and held my breath.
You know, that was a lot to put together that ride because that horse was shifting and darting all over the place, and he put in a heck of a ride to get him around.
And for an 8-year-old horse, that's a pretty impressive.
Yes, he's in
results.
Good company. So 3 in a row now we've had clear.
4 left to come. So looking down, 18th spot now, Abdullah Shabatli.
Look at this. Look how close he comes to that standard. He's really almost jumped into the crowd. Look, he lands completely off to the left. Well ridden, I have to say.
Absolutely. I'm surprised nobody in the crowd just sort of moved back.
He gutted that out for sure.
Basim Hassan Mohammed now. Palubay de Halong. 12-year-old by Balabé Roy for Casa.
And this was the horse that sold for the record price.
It did. It did. And you can see why when you see it jump. Winner in Monaco last year. Was part of the squad that qualified for the Olympic Games in Rio. Back at the Nations Cup a few weeks ago in Abu Dhabi. The Longines President's Cup.
What a feeling to sit on an athlete like that. Wow.
You wouldn't mind riding this horse, would you?
No, I don't think anybody would mind riding this one. I mean, that is scope to spare. Oh, look at that. He jumped out of, he was face up to that fence. He jumped out of an unbelievable hole. This is some horse.
That's him. Alongside Sarah, the Qatari team becomes some jockey now as well.
Yeah, right. It can't just be all horse. He's giving him a nice ride. He got a little deep a couple places, but this horse is able to bail him out. That's a lot of pressure to ride a horse like that too.
Absolutely.
You know?
And the plane's still going around above us saying good luck to the Qatari team.
Come
so this
on.
pressure. There we go.
That
Delivers.
is great. That is really fun to see. And look at it. Palabé still has a little play in him at the end. You can tell that horse loves his job. Look at that.
There we go. There it is.
Told
you it was up there.
I love that. Good work by the cameraman. Well ridden, and God, what a horse.
Well, there we can see the Qataris all sitting down watching.
There's
Sheikh
Laura
Ali.
Kraut thinking, oh, I wish I had that one in my string.
Sheikh Ali there watching, along with the rest of the group that are all out here.
That was really fun to see. What a horse.
Well, Kevin Stout now for France.
So we've had 4 in a row. No pressure, Kevin.
Nope.
And he's got the blue stirrups.
Those are the ones, if I remember right, that will break away when if you get in trouble from that point of view. I know someone could give a much better explanation than me about it, but
Oh, he just lost his stirrup. Must be light. Yeah, there's a lot of different ones out there with magnets that hold your foot in the stirrup in different styles.
correct for les HDC 11-year-old by Janak for the Frenchman. On the 12, so who's further down looking a little safer? Steve Gerda has now moved into the 18th position on the 4-fold 75.08, 75.04 rather, to give you an idea. Anything better than that is in the top 18 now. Laura Crouch just on the edge. She's on 17th spot.
Yeah,
on the 12.
This horse just struggled a bit over this course.
Jessica Newman watching. Representing the Just World organisation, many of the top shows as well, of which Kevin's an ambassador for.
So we now have 12 clear and 6 so far coming back with 4.
2 left to go.
What do you think? Do you think we're going to have another clear?
I think we're at every chance. We've got Hans-Dieter Dreyer now for Germany with the 40-year-old Embassy the second, and then finally we'll have Belgium's Gregory Wathelet. The sunbeds are being packed in, but it means they just stand up and watch now, which is even better.
No, I don't think anybody's going home.
No.
This horse has had some good success. Some of the indoor shows. Should be able to adapt to this course easily. He's moving right along, thinking about the time. They know now if they have a rail, they've got to be quick. Oh boy, he has a very extravagant jump. Makes a big effort behind.
Yes, finished well indoors in Zurich. Some other big indoor shows.
And he also can be really fast in the jump up. He just pulls out the stops. I think this horse is a crowd pleaser because he's such an amazing. It's a very interesting jump. Oh, that is a shame. Really hoping we'd have another clear. So let's see, is he going to make the time to make
73.26 will put him in 17th place at the moment. Oh, yeah, so there's one more to come.
He
so
moved right ahead of Laura. So Laura Crowd is number 18.
Yeah, so Hans-Dieter, whatever happens, is in. Because at worst he could be 18th spot.
There you go.
With one to come. Laura Crouch's the one that's got to go.
Gregory Wathelet will decide her fate.
Exactly.
He's the last rider to go.
She can bite her more manicured fingernails than Hans-Dieter. Belgium's Gregory Wathelet, final combination with Zippet is our last on course in round 1. Remember the top 18 going forward to the second round, and we'll be rolling on into that, taking you around the course, all sorts to bring you in between as we set up for the second round of this Longines Global Champions Tour opening event here in Miami Beach. But our last in round 1, Belgium's Gregory Wathelet to take us in. Gregory from Liège in Belgium, competed in the 2012 Olympics, former winner in Cannes on the Longines Global Champions Tour. Last season, finished well in Doha, Estoril, Cannes, had wins in the 5-star classes there, also in Antwerp, where we head in a few weeks' time.
I love his horse's name, Zippet. So many horses nowadays have names you can't even pronounce.
Yes, exactly. I'm a big fan of BC Madden changing the names of one word names as well. I thank her on a daily basis.
All right, Laura.
So Laura's safe. Laura Crouch.
She is.
So top 18 will be 12 on a 0 score. The rest on 4 faults. Jane Richard Phillips, Lauren Huff, Georgina Bloomberg, Daniel Deusser, Hans-Dieter Dreyer and Laura Crouch. We'll give you the full rundown on the screen in a few minutes' time. But the scores rolling up for Zip It, I'm afraid. On the 12. And we'll finish on that.
Strong.
Yeah.
On the last line.
78.19 finishes on 12 for Gregory Wathelet and Zip It. So as I say, the 18 are set for the second round. 12 of them will come forward with a 0 score. I'll take you down that list in just a few minutes' time. And then we've got all sorts to bring in between if you're following us online as well, from having a look around the VIP to taking you around the course for that second round. But that's what the arena looks like. It's a relaxed afternoon. Great to see it.
That just ended up great with 12 clears. We're going to have a really good class here.
Well, there we go. You can get away following the Mermaid over to the Bahamas. What a lovely way to do it.
I bet they wonder what is going on over here in this arena.
Well, let's have a look at those going forward to the second round. You can see the shots of the arena here and those watching up on the lifeguards tower as well. Funny, they wouldn't let me up there earlier. Eh? They seem to be favouring other people.
You had the wrong outfit on.
Absolutely.
You had too many clothes on.
Absolutely. They don't want me to take them off, don't you worry. There we go. These are the clears so far, and these that definite sure of their place are 18 to go forward. Peter DeVos and Candy, he'll go last in that round. Ken Farrington and Voyeur, Scott Brash, Hello Sanctos, a little further down. Roger Bost at Nippon Dell in there. BZ Madden and Simon, Katie Dine and Staccarado, Bassem Hassan Mohammed, Palabeda Herlong for Qatar. Those are our 12 clears. Then our 4 falters going through as we see our 18. Jane Richard Phillips, Lauren Huff, Georgina Bloomberg, Daniel Deusser, Hans-Dieter Dreyer and Laura Crouch make up the 18 at the moment. So we'll see all of those. Those are the scores from those a little further down the order, and those just finishing a little further off the pace. And we'll have a look at our top few in just a moment as well, our top 3 from that first round. But those finishing further down, Lucy Davis finishes on the 8 faults this time. Todd Minicus with Barbaloo will finish on 8 as well. And Rodrigo Pessoa 8 faults. Carlos Lopez on the 12. Constant Van Passion on the 12 as well. Kevin Stausch. And it takes us down to the next few. Final combination there, as say, those electing to retire. Let's have a look at those best 3 rounds that we saw from the first round. Looking good. So let's have a look at a few of those that will feature in the jump off and could well be a part of it. Scott Brash, we've picked out there as one of the top combinations. He's actually going to be 3rd from last to go in the jump off. Won the American Invitational here yesterday, and Hello Sanctos looks as good as ever, man.
He just looked so fresh going around, just jumped really with gusto and ease, and such a beautiful round to watch. You just had a feeling he was going to jump clear right from the beginning. Just a classical ride through the combination. Jumped the narrow fence so carefully. It's almost as high in the air as Palabay in a way.
Exactly. Taking them to double gold, Olympic and European gold. So Scott.
And then this was the only little iffy place. He jumped in really strong and then cut. He had trouble, almost had trouble fitting in the 4 strides. Got really deep, but
Nello Senko's just powered up over the oxer. It's beautiful.
Well, that was Scott. Also, the rounds of Ken Farrington. Now, this is one of your big players for the US.
Yes, with Boyer, this was another beautiful round. This horse has tremendous scope, and he jumps a lot of times way past the jump. He lands far out over the jump. And Ken has to reel him in for whatever distance, but he just jumps the combination so easy. Well, that 5 strides for some was a little forward. It was a steady distance for Boyer. Is a huge stride. Yet he's also very adjustable. He was able to even add a stride there. Do the steady 7 strides. A lot of people just counted on down there in the 6 strides. And that's where he had the really hard rub in the slow motion. We saw him even hit it, actually hit it with his belly, but it stayed, and that's what matters.
Well, and also the best of the rounds. Have a look. Ken Farrington to feature. Melanie, I'm going to leave you to have a look at his final round and wrap things up, and I will see you for the second round.
All right. This horse also had a lovely round. A big, heavier horse. Maybe struggling a little more in the heat, but it wasn't that obvious.